Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1 Rebirth. Cough cough. Wake up, wake up. She is really lucky. She is not dead yet. Shish, keep your voice down. If your father knew about this, he would probably say something bad to you. Besides, if she died, wouldn't you? Quote. A noisy sound rang in his ears. Yun Miao frowned and slowly opened his eyes. In a trance, she remembered that she was driving to the airport, but a car accident happened on the way, and both the car and the person crashed through the guardrail of the bridge and fell into the water. So now I have been rescued. Yun Miao was thinking in a daze, and when her vision was no longer blurry, she finally saw clearly where she was. This is a very simply decorated room with gray and white walls. Apart from the wardrobe, desk and the bed where he lies, there seems to be nothing else. There were several people standing beside the bed, and when they saw Yun Miao wake up, they all had different expressions. Where is this place? Who are you? Yun Miao struggled to get up, but found her whole body limp and powerless. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching pain came from her head, making her cover her head and groan in pain. It hurts. Yun Miao's painful appearance made the people beside the bed stunned for a moment, and then someone immediately came forward to check on Yun Miao. However, the remaining few people looked at Yun Miao's painful appearance and seemed to be gloating. Isn't it just a fall into the water? You didn't hit your head, why are you acting so serious? The person who spoke was a girl of about 17 or 18 years old. She was wearing a royal blue dress with white lace. She looked quite delicate and pretty, but the words that came out of her mouth sounded like thorns and were really unpleasant to hear. There, don't talk nonsense. Yun Miao has just been brought back. Although he had a physical examination and nothing was wrong, maybe there is something we haven't discovered yet. As soon as the girl finished speaking, a graceful woman in a black slim dress came up behind her. She smiled and patted the girl's shoulder, spoke gently, and then asked the family doctor to examine Yun Miao carefully. Yun Miao had no intention of listening to what the girl and the woman said, because she was currently suffering from a splitting headache and receiving memories that did not belong to her. It turned out that he died after falling into the water in a car accident. Now he has traveled to the interstellar world and become this girl who has the same name and surname as himself, and even looks somewhat similar to him. Her original name was Yun Miao. She was an orphan raised in an orphanage. Only half a month ago, she was found by the famous Yun family on the capital star. Only then did her original name know that she was the daughter of Yun Songcheng, the head of the Yun family. The original body was brought back to the Yun family, and only then did he learn from the gossipy servants that his mother was Yun Songcheng's first wife. Back then, Yun Songcheng married a woman with no status, despite opposition from everyone in his family, making the entire Yun family a laughingstock in the upper class. His reckless attitude made everyone think that he had met true love, but who would have known that just 1 year later, the woman disappeared in an accident, and Yun Songcheng turned around and married Yu Qingru, the eldest daughter of the Yu family, another aristocratic family on the capital star. After they got married, they loved each other very much and had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Their son is named Yun Hao, who just turned 20 this year and is studying at the combat department of the Capital Military Academy. Their daughter is named Yun Bei, who is 18 years old this year and is also studying at the Mecha Design Department of the Capital Military Academy. After the original body was brought back to the Yun family, Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru were very enthusiastic and even held a grand banquet to announce the return of everyone's original body. However, at the banquet, the original body, who was originally the protagonist, was completely reduced to a background board, and was ridiculed and mocked by several young masters and daughters headed by Yun Bei. In the end, no one knew who pushed him into the swimming pool, which directly killed him. The memories quickly merged in Yun Miao's mind. When Yun Miao felt that the pain in his head was finally gone, all the memories left by the original body were also completely merged with Yun Miao. Yun Miao opened his eyes again, glanced at the people standing beside the bed, and recognized their identities. The 2 people who spoke before were Yu Qingru and Yun Bei. mother and daughter, and the person standing in front of his bed and preparing to examine him was Dr. Young, the Yun family's family doctor. Seeing Yun Miao open his eyes, Dr. Young paused and then asked, "Are you awake? Are you still feeling uncomfortable?" Yun Miao shook his head gently, then tried to sit up. "I said she must be pretending, right?" Yun Bei said this with a smug look on her face, looking at Yun Miao with disdain. Yu Qingru glanced at Yun Bei but did not say anything to stop her. "Yun Miao, since nothing happened, just have a good rest. Your father is very angry about the accident tonight. Apologize to him tomorrow morning." After Yu Qingru finished speaking, she took Yun Bei and Dr. Young out of the room. Looking at the door being closed, Yun Miao was stunned for a moment before he sneered. Yun Miao has now integrated the memories of his original body, so he naturally knows the original body's situation in the Yun family, and also knows why the original body fell into the swimming pool. Originally, it was Yun Bei and her friends who teamed up to push the original body into the swimming pool, but now Yu Qingru asked her to apologize to Yun's father. He speaks as if it's all his fault. The original body was found back from the slums and suddenly felt out of tune with everything around him. He seemed reserved and silent all day long. Because he wanted to have a home of his own so much, he didn't say a word even when he was bullied by Yun Bei. However, the result he got was that the bullying became even more severe. Yun Miao got angry when he thought about how his original self had been compromising in the past half-month, especially Yun Bei, who was always bullying others and was the culprit who indirectly killed his original self. Now that he has become Yun Miao of this world, it is natural for him to seek justice for his original self. And there is the current Madame Yun, Yu Qingru, who appears to be very kind to the original owner, but without her indulgence, how could Yun Bei become more and more excessive? Yun Miao would definitely not let it go just like that, as those people had treated his original body badly. However, Yun Miao has just woken up in this world. Although he has integrated the memories of his original body, he still needs to adapt. Therefore, some things still need to be done slowly. Since God has given me another chance to live my life, I won't be polite. Yun Miao murmured to himself, with a smile from the bottom of his heart on his face. After a peaceful night's rest, Yun Miao was awakened by a knock on the door the next day. Stretching lazily, she opened the door and found a person standing at the door. When he saw Yun Miao opening the door, he said expressionlessly, "Miss Yun Miao, it's time for breakfast." After saying that, he turned around and left without caring whether Yun Miao responded or not. Yun Miao was stunned for a moment before he remembered that the other person was the Yun family's housekeeper. After quickly getting dressed and washing up, Yun Miao went downstairs and went to the restaurant as he remembered. He saw that 3 people were already sitting at the long dining table. Sitting at the head of the table was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He looked quite dignified, especially when he saw Yun Miao appear. He glanced at him casually, and there was a sense of arrogance and superiority in him. "This is Yun Songcheng, the head of the Yun family." On both sides of Yun Songcheng sat Yu Qingru and Yun Bei respectively. The housekeeper who had come up to knock on the door and pass on the message was now standing straight and respectfully behind Yun Songcheng with his hands folded on his abdomen. "Huh, you came down so late, how long do you plan to keep Dad waiting for you?" Seeing Yun Miao coming, Yun Bei spoke with sarcasm and a look of disgust. "Bell," Yu Qingru called out softly, and Yun Bei reluctantly shut up. Yun Songcheng glanced at Yun Miao, his face still very serious, obviously not in a good mood, and said, "You have to know that you are now a member of the Yun family. You have to remember the rules of the Yun family in your heart, understand?" Yun Miao sat down at the only remaining tableware seat. Upon hearing this, he just looked up, nodded, and replied briefly, "Yeah." The original incarnation had always been taciturn, so Yun Miao's reaction now did not arouse any suspicion. Yun Songcheng obviously took Yun Miao's indifference as obedience, and nodded with great satisfaction, and continued, "Although last night's banquet was ruined because of you, as your father, I naturally cannot put all the blame on you, so let's just let it go." Lord Yun Songcheng spoke generously, and Yu Qingru and Yun Bei on the side naturally praised Yun Songcheng for his magnanimity. Only Yun Miao was rolling his eyes in his heart. But before Yun Miao could say anything, Yun Songcheng continued speaking. I'll have someone send the wedding dress over later. You can try it on yourself. Your wedding will be in a few days. Don't let anything go wrong and embarrass your family. Yun Miao was stunned for a moment, then suddenly raised his head and exclaimed, Wedding? What wedding? Yun Songcheng frowned, obviously very dissatisfied with Yun Miao's reaction. Yu Qingru quickly smiled and said, Yun Miao, have you forgotten that I told you last night that your family has arranged a marriage for you? In a week, you and General Feng will get married. Yun Miao was confused and was about to say that he had no idea. However, before he could say anything, a light bulb went off in his mind and he remembered. That's indeed the case. The Yun family wanted to form an alliance with the admiral's mansion, and the original body actually agreed after being fooled into a few words. It was simply unbelievable. I don't want to get married. Yun Miao refused. As soon as he finished speaking, with a bang, the chopsticks in Yun Songcheng's hand slammed heavily on the table. What did you say? Seeing that Yun Songcheng was about to get angry, Yu Qingru quickly said, Yun Miao, quickly apologize to your father. He went through so much trouble to find you and found you a good marriage. He wanted you to have a comfortable life for the rest of your life. How could you hurt his heart like this? Yun Songcheng snorted coldly, you really disappoint me. You agreed before, but now you say you won't marry. Do you want the entire Yun family to lose face because of you? Chapter 2 Wedding. Yun Songcheng's face darkened, and for a moment the atmosphere in the entire restaurant became solemn. Your marriage to the admiral was announced to everyone last night. You say you don't want to marry now. Impossible. After saying that, Yun Songcheng got up and walked out angrily. Seeing Yun Songcheng leave, Yu Qingru looked at Yun Miao and sighed, your father is just like that. He is doing this for your own good. Anyway, this matter has been announced. You are a good child. You will not make things difficult for your father, right? So don't say you won't marry me anymore. After leaving these words, Yu Qingru also got up and left with Yun Bei. Before leaving, Yun Bei turned back and curled her lips at Yun Miao, the smugness in her eyes was evident. Yun Miao frowned, feeling that this matter was somewhat difficult to handle. From what they said, it seemed that this marriage was inevitable, but Yun Miao really didn't want to marry a stranger. What should I do? Yun Miao's thoughts started racing. How about leaving here? Yun Miao muttered something, but then shook his head. Even though he had integrated the memories of his original body, because his original body had never seen the world, Yun Miao actually didn't understand this world now. If he went out like this, he would have difficulty taking a single step. After thinking it over, Yun Miao finally came to a conclusion. Marriage is the only option. Yun Miao returned to his room dejectedly. On the way, he met two maids. After thinking for a moment, he called them. Please help me find a computer that can access the internet, thank you. The maid was stunned for a moment and nodded in agreement. Yun Miao said nothing more and walked away, but when he turned the corner, he heard the two maids talking. How pitiful. When he comes back, he will marry the admiral for the second young lady. I heard that the admiral had a mental turmoil a while ago and killed several people. How pitiful can she be if she can get close to the admiral from the slums? She will still live a life of luxury in the future. Even if she is the admiral, she has become a phoenix after flying to a branch. Right. Quote. The two maids walked away whispering to each other, but Yun Miao heard their conversation clearly. He returned to his room with a frown, and soon the maid brought him a computer. The optical computer looks like a bracelet. When it is turned on, it will project a light screen in front of you. Each light screen of the optical computer has an anti-peeping setting, so unless the open mode is set, generally only the person using the optical computer can see the contents of the light screen. Yun Miao played with the optical computer in his hand for a while, feeling impressed by the high level of technology in this world, and then he put the optical computer in his hand. The original body also had an optical computer. After all, an optical computer is like an ID card, and everyone is equipped with one after birth. Even though the original body grew up in an orphanage, he had a basic version of optical computer distributed free of charge by the Federation. Although it did not have many functions and could not access the star network, basic communications could still be guaranteed. After exploring the functions of the new optical computer, Yun Miao opened the star network search interface after a while, and then directly entered the search term he had thought of. Then the scene changed, and the information Yun Miao wanted appeared on the screen. Feng Chengyuan, 26 years old, general of the 7th Army of the Federation, participated in the battle. A year ago, my mental power went haywire, causing severe damage to my body. My legs have lost all feeling and I can't walk. Yun Miao looked at the search results displayed on the light screen, his brows furrowed more and more. No wonder those two maids said that before, it turns out it's because the admiral is a cripple. Yun Miao laughed angrily. She finally understood why her original body was suddenly found and coaxed into agreeing to this marriage. This was where the problem lay. With the identity and status of a federal admiral, the Yun family can only marry up even if they are a well-known family in the capital star. If a marriage is really going to be arranged, wouldn't it be safer to have a daughter who was raised by your side marry a daughter who you've only been with for half a month? It seems that Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru were reluctant to let their daughter marry a cripple, so they came up with this idea. The marriage can not only elevate the Yun family's status in the capital star, but also save them from having to send their precious daughter away. It is the best of both worlds. But after calming down, Yun Miao collapsed on the bed again, feeling somewhat powerless. So what if I'm angry? Can I still avoid it? Yun Miao could only keep this account in mind. As for marriage, Yun Miao's only choice now is to follow the Yun family's ideas. She just hoped that the federal admiral was an easy person to talk to, so that she could talk to him and make some rules. That would be best. It's a pity that there are very few photos of the admiral circulating on the star network, and even the few that exist are blurry and it's impossible to see what he looks like. The dress was delivered in the afternoon. When Yun Miao was trying it on, Yun Bei came over and ridiculed her again. From the smug look in her eyes, Yun Miao knew what she was thinking without having to guess. Yun Miao was extremely annoyed, and for the first time he had the idea that maybe getting married and moving out of the Yun family might be a good idea. Rather than facing an annoying person like Yun Bei all day long, Yun Miao would rather face a stranger he doesn't even know. Soon, a week passed and the wedding day came. Although Yun Miao is the daughter who was brought back to take the blame, her marriage partner is Feng Chengyuan, the youngest admiral in the Federation. Even though he has lost the ability to walk now, his status and position are still there. In order to save face, the Yun family decorated the wedding venue very luxuriously. Yun Miao was standing in an inconspicuous corner wearing a white fishtail skirt. Her long, smooth black hair was tied up with a jeweled bun, with only 2 strands of hair falling at the corners of her forehead. The teardrop-shaped forehead ornament between her eyebrows made Yun Miao's face look even more delicate. The pair of beautiful and lively peach blossom eyes looked around and took in the general situation on the scene. There were quite a few guests, but they all seemed to be guests of the Yun family. As for the admiral, it seemed that no one came at all. Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru obviously noticed this as well. They could still put on a forced smile when facing the guests, but when they were facing away from the crowd, the expressions on their faces did not look so good. Why are there no male guests? Yun Songcheng looked at the room full of guests. This should have been a joyous scene, but instead he felt inexplicably angry. Although the Yun family had done their best to promote this marriage, Yun Songcheng still felt very embarrassed now. Yu Qingru was considerate and soothed him. Don't worry, maybe we are just a little late. As we were talking, we suddenly heard a discussion coming from the entrance. The two of them looked over immediately, and when they saw a familiar figure, they were immediately delighted and hurried to greet him. But after getting closer, he froze again. Butler Wu, why is it you? Where is General Feng? The person who came was Feng Chengyuan's housekeeper. Mr. Yun, the admiral is not able to attend the wedding, so he sent me to pick up Miss Yun and go directly to the marriage registration office to complete the registration. Butler Wu was wearing a black tuxedo, white gloves, and even his hair was neatly combed back. He looked energetic and serious. But what he said made Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru shocked. "What did you say? You're not coming, but the wedding venue has been arranged and the guests have arrived. How can he?" "Mr. Yun, do you have any objection to the admiral's decision?" Butler Wu slightly raised the corners of his lips. His attitude was clearly neither humble nor arrogant, but Yun Songcheng inexplicably felt as if he was inferior to him, and he did not dare to refute his words. "I wonder where Miss Yun is." As Butler Wu spoke, he looked around and quickly locked onto Yun Miao's location, then immediately walked over here. Yun Miao didn't know Butler Wu, so he felt a little strange to see him walking straight towards him. However, when Butler Wu stood in front of Yun Miao and revealed his identity, Yun Miao finally understood what was going on. "I am here to pick up Miss Yun as ordered by the admiral. Please come in, Miss Yun." Butler Wu politely made a gesture of invitation, but his attitude did not allow for refusal. Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru followed behind and wanted to say something, but were stopped by Butler Wu. "You two, the admiral is still waiting for Miss Yun, so we will leave first." After saying that, without waiting for Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru to reply, he signaled Yun Miao to follow. Butler Wu walked ahead on his own, not caring at all about other people's gazes. Yun Miao followed without much hesitation. Although he was not very clear about what was going on, Yun Miao was still very satisfied that he didn't have to attend his own wedding. The two walked out of the wedding scene under everyone's gaze, and then got directly into a hover car parked outside. Watching the hover car quickly rise into the air and fly away, Yun Songcheng's face became so gloomy that it looked like water could be squeezed out of it, and it looked extremely ugly. On the contrary, Yu Qingru and Yun Bei on the side showed a proud look. In the hovercraft, Yun Miao began to feel uneasy and asked hesitantly, "Where are we going?" Butler Wu politely repeated what he had explained to Yun Songcheng and his wife before, and then did not explain any further. But after listening to it, Yun Miao became even more nervous. "I wonder what kind of person that admiral is. Is he easy to get along with? Why didn't he attend the wedding, but chose to register for marriage directly? Are you dissatisfied with this marriage? Then why did you agree to the Yun family's proposal?" There were many things that Yun Miao couldn't understand, but seeing that Butler Wu remained silent, he didn't know what to ask. Yun Miao could only sigh and shift his attention to the scenery outside the window. In today's world, the level of technology is already able to support interstellar travel, and hovercrafts like this have become an essential means of transportation for people's daily travel. Although I read the memory of riding the floating bus from my original body's memory, the feeling of experiencing it in person is still different. With a strong sense of novelty, Yun Miao did not notice the passage of time. Soon the hovercraft stopped outside the marriage registration office. Yun Miao followed Butler Wu out of the hovercraft and walked directly into the registration office. The further he walked in, the faster Yun Miao felt his heartbeat. Finally, after pushing open a door, Yun Miao saw the legendary admiral. Chapter 3 Admiral. When he opened the door, Yun Miao was startled by the two soldiers standing at the door, but what frightened Yun Miao even more was the strange man sitting in a wheelchair facing the door. The man had a face with sharp edges and corners, as if it had been cut by a knife or an axe, and his deep facial features revealed a tough and handsome feeling. Especially those pair of dark and deep eyes, which look very sharp, as if as long as you look into his eyes, he will be able to see through all your thoughts, making people feel that nothing can escape. He was wearing a black uniform with beautiful and intricate patterns embroidered on the collar and cuffs with gold thread, and a very beautiful golden medal on his chest. Even though he was sitting in a wheelchair at the moment, he seemed to exude an aura of majesty without even being angry. After Butler Wu entered the room, he walked directly to the man, bowed slightly, and said respectfully, "General, Miss Yun has been brought here." Feng Chengyuan nodded, his eyes fell on Yun Miao, and he looked at Yun Miao with scrutiny. Being stared at by those sharp eyes, Yun Miao suddenly felt his scalp tighten, and he had a palpitation as if being stared at by some ferocious beast. Just as she was hesitating whether to introduce herself first to ease her nervousness, she saw that the other party seemed to have lost patience and looked away. "Let's start." Feng Chengyuan spoke indifferently, and the staff waiting on the side immediately stepped forward and began to get busy. "Ms. Yun, this way please." The staff came forward and politely asked Yun Miao to go to Feng Chengyuan. Yun Miao glanced at the admiral, who seemed to be shrouded in a low-pressure atmosphere, hesitated for a moment, and then followed him. Marriage registration requires the presence of both husband and wife for DNA authentication. In addition, they need to leave a holographic photo of the two of them for storage in the file. So under the guidance of the staff, Yun Miao stood beside Feng Chengyuan's wheelchair, forcing a stiff smile, waiting for the series of procedures to be completed. It didn't take too long for the staff to come forward and respectfully report to Feng Chengyuan, "General, the registration has been completed. You can leave at any time. The certificate will be delivered to your residence within 3 working days." Feng Chengyuan did not comment. Butler Wu smiled and communicated with the other party, then walked to Feng Chengyuan's wheelchair and pushed him out. Yun Miao looked at the two people in confusion as they walked away. He was stunned for a moment before he quickly chased after them. "Wait a moment." Seeing them leaving without looking back, Yun Miao called out hurriedly. Feng Chengyuan raised his arm slightly, and Butler Wu stopped walking. Yun Miao took this opportunity to jog after the two of them. Don't leave in such a hurry." Seeing them turn around and leave, Yun Miao inexplicably had the illusion that he was being used and discarded. "Miss Yun, is there anything else?" Feng Chengyuan didn't say anything. He just glanced at Yun Miao coldly and then looked away. There was a look of impatience on his face. But Butler Wu was very polite, with a faint smile on his face when he spoke. "What should I do if you leave?" Butler Wu was stunned for a moment by the question, but he immediately reacted after a moment. "Miss Yun has now married the admiral, so she will naturally return to the admiral's mansion with us." Hearing this, Yun Miao instinctively glanced at Feng Chengyuan, wanting to see his reaction, but unfortunately, Feng Chengyuan didn't even glance at her. Even after Butler Wu stopped talking, he urged impatiently, "Don't waste time." "Yes." Butler Wu responded respectfully, and no longer paid any attention to Yun Miao. He pushed Feng Chengyuan and continued to walk out. Yun Miao thought about it and followed. Although Yun Miao didn't know why Feng Chengyuan didn't go to the wedding today, it did make the Yun family lose face. He definitely couldn't go back to the Yun family, otherwise the people of the Yun family would definitely point the finger at him. Only a fool would go back and suffer the consequences. Anyway, she and Feng Chengyuan are now a legal couple, so it wouldn't be too much for her to live with him in the general's mansion for a while, right? "I will find a job and rent a house when I make some money. Then I can talk to Feng Chengyuan about it. It would be best if we can get a divorce." Yun Miao thought happily in his heart, and his vigilance towards Feng Chengyuan was somewhat reduced. But her good mood came to an abrupt end when Butler Wu gestured for her and Feng Chengyuan to sit together. Looking at the hovercraft, where Feng Chengyuan was sitting on the soft and comfortable seat with a sullen face, leaning on the armrest with one hand, tapping the armrest lightly with his slender and bony fingers, Yun Miao inexplicably wanted to retreat. It seems that the other party doesn't seem to be easy to get along with. Yun Miao sighed in his heart. "Ms. Yun, it's time to get in the car." Just when Yun Miao was stunned, Butler Wu spoke up to remind him. Yun Miao came back to his senses immediately and said with some embarrassment, "How about I sit in the front? I think there are still seats in the front." Butler Wu looked at Yun Miao in surprise, obviously not expecting her to make such a request. Before Butler Wu could refuse, Feng Chengyuan spoke coldly. "If you don't want to leave, go back to the Yun family by yourself." As soon as he finished speaking, Yun Miao jumped onto the hovercraft without saying a word, and the door closed automatically. Yun Miao found a place farthest away from Feng Chengyuan and sat down, as if he was afraid of disturbing Feng Chengyuan. Feng Chengyuan glanced at him indifferently. Yun Miao looked straight ahead with his feet together, his hands neatly placed on his knees, sitting as obediently as a kindergarten kid. A hint of satisfaction flashed across Feng Chengyuan's eyes, but he didn't care too much and began to close his eyes and rest. The hovercraft slowly rose into the air and flew in one direction. Just when Yun Miao followed Feng Chengyuan back to the general's mansion, the Yun family was experiencing a storm. He is simply going too far. He simply didn't show up. This is simply making my Yun family a laughingstock for everyone. Yun Songcheng was so angry that he raised his hand and smashed the cup on the table. Snapped. There was a crisp sound, startling several people who were sitting or standing nearby. Yu Qingru frowned and quickly comforted him. Don't be angry yet. He might be expressing his dissatisfaction with this. After all, the person he had engaged with a year ago was our Bayer, but now it's Yun Miao. He must be unhappy. I don't want to marry him. He is an admiral, so what? Now he is just a cripple. Who knows when he will die because of his mental power rioting again. Yun Bei raised her chin and spoke unhappily, and when she mentioned Feng Chengyuan, she was full of disgust. Shut up, how can you just say something like that? Yun Songbin was already angry, and when he heard Yun Bei still saying ignorant things, he felt even more furious. Yu Qingru quickly gave Yun Bei a look, telling her not to speak for the time being, so as not to anger Yun Songcheng and make him even angrier. Then he comforted Yun Songcheng. Don't be angry with Bayer. She is actually right. At the beginning, I thought that the admiral was the best candidate for Bayer's partner in terms of age and status, so we worked so hard to make the two of them get engaged. Thinking of how much they had worried about this matter, both Yu Qingru and Yun Songcheng couldn't help but frown. Yu Qingru sighed and continued, but who would have thought that not long after they got engaged, General Feng's mental power suddenly went haywire. Not only did he fall into a coma for more than half a year, but he also suffered from lifelong disability. Bayer has been spoiled by us since she was a child, so it's understandable that she doesn't want to marry him. Do you want Bayer to spend the rest of her life tied to a person who is disabled or who may die from a mental power outage at any time? Anyway, as a mother, I can't bear it. It turns out that my mother loves me the most. Yun Bei was so moved that she threw herself into Yu Qingru's arms and acted coquettishly, but after being glared at by Yun Songcheng, she could only shut her mouth in disappointment. Dad, I think we should just forget about this matter for now. At this moment, Yun Hao, who had been sitting on the sofa without saying a word, spoke. Yun Songcheng looked at him puzzledly and asked, "Why do you say that?" Yun Hao stood up and said to Yun Songcheng, "Dad, don't forget the purpose of facilitating this marriage." Seeing Yun Songcheng stunned for a moment, Yun Hao did not give him a chance to react and continued, "Now that we have replaced Yun Bei with Yun Miao, this is our fault. The admiral did not break the contract directly, and just let the Yun family lose some face, which is already very good. Now that Yun Miao and the admiral are married, our two families are also in-laws. Isn't this actual benefit less important than a little face?" Like a word that awakens a dreamer, Yun Songcheng suddenly showed a look of sudden enlightenment. Looking at Yun Hao with admiration, Yun Songcheng said with satisfaction, "As expected of my son, he has such a comprehensive view of things." Yu Qingru was also very satisfied and said, "What Hao said makes sense. Let's not forget our original purpose. Although there are some changes now, perhaps the result will be better than expected." After hearing what Yu Qingru said, Yun Songcheng's originally ugly expression eased a little. Only Yun Bei pouted, looking unhappy. "What's wrong, Belle?" Seeing that her daughter was unhappy, Yu Qingru asked. Yun Bei snorted, "You all praise your brother, but no one praises me. You're lucky enough that you didn't teach me a lesson. You still want me to praise you. Do you know that your momentary willfulness almost ruined the marriage we had worked so hard to arrange? Your brother's future was almost affected because of you." Yun Songcheng started scolding Yun Bei as soon as he caught her, but she was his daughter after all, so Yun Songcheng didn't want to say anything harsh. Yun Bei was a little unconvinced, but she didn't dare to continue to anger her father, so she could only mutter, "It's not a bad idea to let Yun Miao go now." With Yun Miao's soft-hearted personality that allows himself to be manipulated by others, won't he be controlled by them in the future? Yu Qingru was reluctant to see her daughter being taught a lesson, so she changed the subject and said, "Yun Miao has registered her marriage with the admiral now, and the matter is settled. So we will wait for her to come back and have a good talk with her. Then we can ask her to help us win over the admiral, and Howard will have a bright future. Everyone was very satisfied with this decision. They just had to wait for Yun Miao to come back so that they could give her a good beating and remind her not to forget the Yun family's kindness in finding her. Anyway, with Yun Miao's personality, even if the requests are excessive, as long as she says that these are all for the Yun family and for her father, she will definitely agree to them all. Chapter 4 Agreement. The hovercraft soon stopped in front of the admiral's mansion. Yun Miao got off the hovercraft and looked up at the admiral's mansion, which covered a huge area, in astonishment. The admiral's mansion is located on the hillside of the scenic Yunping mountain. There are many villas here, and all of them are inhabited by the upper class of the Federation. As the most famous admiral in the Federation, the admiral's mansion is naturally very grand. There is a large garden in front of the general's mansion, with roses of various colors planted around the wall. There is also a pavilion with a flower bud roof on the right. There are tables and chairs in the pavilion, and there seems to be something on the table. It's just that the distance is a bit far, so it's hard to see what it is. In addition, there is a wisteria trellis, with clusters of lavender flowers hanging down from the trellis, which looks unique and romantic. After that is the huge admiral's residence. It is called a villa, but it feels almost like a manor. Yun Miao followed Feng Chengyuan and Butler Wu into the villa. Unlike the beautiful and romantic garden outside, the furnishings in the villa gave off a cold and hard feeling. Common name: Sexual Apathy Style. Ms. Yun, please wait a moment. I will arrange a room for you later. Butler Wu said something politely, then pushed Feng Chengyuan's wheelchair into the indoor elevator. A moment later, he appeared in the corridor on the second floor and then disappeared from Yun Miao's sight. Only when he was alone did Yun Miao relax. When Yun Miao was with Feng Chengyuan just now, he felt that he dared not even breathe too loudly. I don't know if it was because of the gossip I saw on Starnet before that made Yun Miao have a preconceived impression of Feng Chengyuan. So now that I see the real person, my first reaction is to think of those words on the star internet that say Feng Chengyuan is cold-blooded, cruel, tyrannical and murderous. It's really scary. After taking a look around, Yun Miao found that the entire general's mansion was particularly deserted. In such a big house, it seemed like there were only 3 of them. After waiting for a while, Butler Wu reappeared in front of Yun Miao. Miss Yun, please follow me. Butler Wu invited respectfully and walked in front to lead the way. Yun Miao followed behind Butler Wu, listening to him introduce every corner of the admiral's mansion, and finally he took her to a room. This room will belong to Miss Yun from now on. At the end of the corridor is the admiral's room. If there is nothing else, I hope Miss Yun will not disturb him. After saying that, Butler Wu nodded slightly, then turned and left. Yun Miao glanced at the Butler Wu who was leaving, then glanced at the end of the corridor. After a moment, he said indifferently, "It's good as long as we don't interfere with each other." After entering the room, Yun Miao quickly took a look at the layout of the room. The room is very spacious, with a large bed against the east wall and an off-white velvety blanket beside it. There is a large dressing table near the window, on which are placed various unopened cosmetics. Yun Miao took a quick look and saw no less than dozens of species. The light gray curtains are paired with white gauze, which is calm but not heavy. After opening the curtains, you can see that there is a large balcony outside. There is a soft leather rocking chair and a coffee table on the balcony, which looks very casual. Standing on the balcony, you can see the swimming pool in the backyard, which is more than 200 square meters. Under the sunshine, the clear water ripples, making people want to swim back and forth immediately. There was also an independent cloakroom in the room. Yun Miao opened it and took a look, and found that there were already a lot of the latest clothes of the season hanging inside, all of which were women's clothing that suited Yun Miao's figure. Yun Miao was very surprised. She didn't expect Feng Chengyuan to be so considerate and prepare clothes for her. But on second thought, I'm afraid it's the steward Wu who is attentive and considerate, not the admiral who looks like he's about to drop ice chips. Yun Miao was very satisfied with the whole room. Compared with the room she lived in at the Yun family before, this place was like heaven. After a busy day, Yun Miao was almost exhausted. But I was still in a dress and had makeup on my face, so it was difficult to throw myself on the bed. Yun Miao could only drag his tired body to the bathroom, take a good bath, and finally feel relaxed after removing all the restraints. Yun Miao came out of the bathroom wrapped in a bath towel and humming a tune. Because she had soaked in it for a long time, her whole body was now covered with a faint pink color. There were still some water droplets on the smooth and delicate skin. With the rhythm of walking, they rolled down the skin drop by drop, looking inexplicably sexy. What Feng Chengyuan saw when he looked up was this vivid scene. For a moment, some emotion seemed to flash across those eyes that were as calm as an ancient well. Yun Miao had never thought that there would be other people in the room, so when he and Feng Chengyuan made eye contact, he was stunned. The next second, before Yun Miao could blurt out a scream, Feng Chengyuan stopped her with a sullen face and a cold voice. "Shut up or get thrown out." Yun Miao. "Okay, when you are under someone's roof you have to bow your head and just bear with it." Wrapping the bath towel tightly around himself, Yun Miao looked at Feng Chengyuan with a forced smile. "My Lord Admiral, I suppose you wouldn't mind if I put on my clothes first." Feng Chengyuan's eyes dimmed, he snorted coldly and said nothing. "If you don't answer, I'll take it as your consent, okay." Yun Miao muttered, ran quickly into the cloakroom, randomly picked out a beige short-sleeved casual suit to change into, and then returned to Feng Chengyuan. Feng Chengyuan was still in the same position, still with that cold expression that kept people at a distance. Although he was handsome and not like an ordinary person, he had to frown, as if he wanted to pinch a few mosquitoes to death with his brows. "Please take a look at this agreement and then sign it." Seeing Yun Miao coming back, Feng Chengyuan directly threw out an agreement. Yun Miao took it and looked at it, and was instantly happy. There are more than a dozen agreements listed above, which can be summarized into one meaning. Their marriage was just a formality, to shut certain people up. They were not allowed to divorce within 3 years, and after 3 years, Yun Miao could leave on her own. During the marriage, Feng Chengyuan provided food and lodging. If Yun Miao needed anything else, she could also apply to Feng Chengyuan. Yun Miao was speechless again. As expected of a general, even the way he writes an agreement is so unique. After reading it, Yun Miao signed without hesitation. After all, the agreement stated at the end that I could get a large sum of compensation when I left, so it didn't seem like I was at a disadvantage, right? After taking back the agreement that Yun Miao handed over, Feng Chengyuan didn't say much. He turned on the automatic driving function of the wheelchair and left Yun Miao's room. Only after Feng Chengyuan left did Yun Miao relax and throw himself on the bed. In just a short while, Yun Miao felt that he was almost suffocating under the admiral's aura. After a peaceful night's rest in the admiral's mansion, Yun Miao thought he would not be able to sleep, but unexpectedly he slept very soundly. After a quick wash, Yun Miao went downstairs and ran into Butler Wu. "Breakfast is ready. Please go to the restaurant for dinner, Miss Yun." Yun Miao looked at the plate in Butler Wu's hand and asked in confusion, "Isn't General Feng going downstairs to eat?" Butler Wu nodded, and when he was about to leave, he turned back and asked, "Miss Yun, is there anything you need to bring over?" "I'll arrange for someone to bring it over." Yun Miao thought about it, shook his head and said, "I'd better go there myself." After all, some things belonging to the original body still need to be taken away. Chapter 50, It's a Scam. After breakfast, when Yun Miao was still thinking about how to get back to the Yun family, Butler Wu had already arranged for the hovercraft to wait at the door. "Today, I will accompany Miss Yun back," Butler Wu said with a warm smile. Yun Miao didn't know whether this was Feng Chengyuan's idea or Butler Wu's own idea, but it was a good thing to have Butler Wu following. So Yun Miao didn't hesitate to get on the hovercraft with Butler Wu and headed towards the Yun family. Not long after, the hovercraft stopped in front of the Yun family's door. "I'm waiting for Miss Yun in the car." Butler Wu smiled and showed no intention of getting out of the car. Yun Miao did not force him and got out of the car and walked towards the Yun family's gate. After seeing Yun Miao appear, a maid quickly informed the Yun family of her return. Therefore, when Yun Miao walked into the gate, he faced the gazes of everyone in the Yun family. When Yun Songcheng saw Yun Miao, his expression was a little subtle. When he saw Yun Miao coming back alone, he snorted coldly and withdrew his gaze. Yun Miao, why are you the only one back? Where is the admiral? Yu Qingru looked outside unwillingly, and after making sure that there was no one else, her expression turned cold. Huh, you're not ashamed to come back. Do you know how embarrassing it was when you just left like that yesterday, leaving us and the guests hanging there? Yun Bei couldn't hide her emotions and immediately started to mock Yun Miao. Yun Miao glanced at everyone and replied calmly, oh. She was too lazy to pay attention to Yun Bei's shouting, nor did she want to deal with Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru, so after responding, she walked towards her room on her own. However, this action completely angered Yun Bei. She quickly stood up and blocked Yun Miao's way, accusing him harshly, what's your attitude? Just because you married General Feng, you've become so arrogant. Thinking of the guests' secret discussions at yesterday's banquet and the ridicule of her peers, Yun Bei felt that she couldn't swallow this anger. Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru also looked unhappy, so when they saw Yun Bei making things difficult for Yun Miao, they did not say anything to stop her. Yun Miao sneered in his heart and looked straight at Yun Bei. Why, are you jealous? If you had married her yourself, wouldn't it have been my turn? Yun Miao looked at Yun Bei with a smile and a sarcastic tone, which immediately stunned Yun Bei. Yun Miao never dared to talk to her like this before. Even Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru were stunned, obviously surprised by Yun Miao's change. Yun Miao was too lazy to continue paying attention to everyone, so he turned around and walked towards his room. After the original owner was brought back, she was arranged to live on the first floor, and the rooms on the first floor were basically prepared for the maids in the house. She had been to the third floor and seen Yun Bei's room. The interior is decorated like a castle, gorgeous and dazzling, and Yun Bei is the princess living in it. Compared to there, where I live is like two different worlds. Pushing open the door, the strange yet familiar room reappeared in front of Yun Miao. She walked into the room and went straight to the desk. Opening the desk, Yun Miao reached into the innermost corner of the drawer. In her memory, there was a small box the size of a palm, which contained a pearl necklace. It was the only thing left with her when she was abandoned. However, the hand that was stretched out touched nothing. Yun Miao frowned and touched it again uncertainly, but indeed he didn't touch anything. She turned and walked outside, directly in front of the Yun family. Where are my things? Yun Miao looked at the few people calmly, neither humble nor arrogant. Yun Songcheng glanced at Yun Miao with an unhappy look on his face. What the hell? How can you talk to your elders like that? You can't even address them as such. Yun Miao automatically ignored the following words and directly answered the previous question. My pearl necklace is gone. What do you mean? Your broken things, can we take them from you? Yun Bei was immediately furious. Yun Miao glanced at him and said, I didn't say you took it, why are you so excited? As soon as he finished speaking, Yun Miao keenly noticed the slight change in Yun Bei's expression, and his heart suddenly moved. Could it be that I really got it right? You took my things. You're talking nonsense. How could I possibly take your things? You didn't take it, why are you so nervous? Me. Enough. Yun Songcheng shouted loudly and looked at Yun Miao with dissatisfaction. Have you had enough of making trouble? Why have you become so ignorant that you have to make trouble at home as soon as you come back? Yun Miao almost wanted to roll his eyes. My things were stolen and I want to get them back. Is this considered being ignorant? What do you mean by stolen? Don't say such harsh words. Yun Bei said angrily. Yun Miao glanced at her and said, so, you admit that you stole my pearl. Yun Miao, how can you say that about your sister? Yu Qingru stood up to defend her daughter, and Yun Songcheng was also very angry at Yun Miao's attitude. With the support of her parents, Yun Bei immediately looked at Yun Miao proudly, her eyes full of pride. Yun Miao looked at the family, sneered, turned around and walked upstairs without saying a word. Yun Bei suddenly felt something was wrong and hurried forward to stop Yun Miao. What do you want to do? Since the things are lost, of course I have to find them back. If you don't tell me, then I can only find them myself. Yun Miao said innocently and stretched out his hand to push Yun Bei away, but before his hand touched Yun Bei, she fell backwards by herself. You pushed me. Yun Bei fell to the ground and looked at Yun Miao with an expression of disbelief, looking completely like a victim. Yun Miao raised an eyebrow. Oh, are you trying to scam me? Bei how are you? Are you hurt? When Yu Qingru saw Yun Bei fall, she hurried forward to check on her. Yun Bei immediately made a painful expression and said aggrievedly, Mom, my hand hurts so much, I must have been injured. Yu Qingru immediately looked at Yun Miao with tears in her eyes and said sadly, Yun Miao, I have never treated you harshly since you were found. Why are you still dissatisfied? If you're unhappy, just come to me. How could you hit your sister? Yun Miao looked at him indifferently, but couldn't help but complain in his heart. I have to say that Yun Bei's acting skills are not even a bit worse than her mother's. Yun Songcheng, who was originally unhappy, exploded immediately after being provoked by Yu Qingru's aggrieved expression. Yun Miao, apologize to your mother and sister. Yun Songcheng frowned and stared at Yun Miao with a serious expression. If it were the Yun Miao of the past, he would have bowed his head and admitted his mistake with that majestic look. However, it is different now. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 6 It's Not Mine, I Don't Need It. Yun Miao looked at Yun Songcheng neither arrogantly nor humbly, with no intention of bowing his head at all. Why? Yun Songcheng was stunned for a moment, then became even angrier because his order was ignored. It's wrong for you to push people. He walked up to Yun Miao with a menacing look, wanting to re-establish his prestige in front of Yun Miao with a majestic attitude. However, Yun Miao still remained unmoved. She fell down by herself. Why should I apologize? You're talking nonsense. You were the one who pushed me. Yun Bei had been helped up by Yu Qingru, but she still pretended to be injured and said to Yun Songcheng pitifully, Dad, she did it on purpose. I didn't let her go upstairs, so she pushed me. Snapped. A crisp slap sounded, and Yun Miao continued to hit her, looking at Yun Bei with a serious look. Being honest is the most basic family education. Since you don't understand, I don't mind teaching you. Yun Miao taunted. The next second, she was greeted by Yun Bei's crying and the anger of Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru. Yun Miao, do you dare to hit someone? Yun Miao, you are so outrageous. I will teach you a lesson today so that you don't forget your last name. As he spoke, Yun Songcheng raised his hand with a ferocious expression, and was about to hit Yun Miao. Yun Miao's heart sank, and his whole body tensed up instantly, ready to dodge at any time. However, the next second, a loud shout was heard, and Yun Songcheng's hand instantly froze in midair. Stop! Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw Butler Wu, dressed in a neat suit and with a stern expression, walking in from outside. He walked up to the Yun family, glanced at everyone present, then looked at Yun Miao and smiled. I saw you haven't come out for a long time, so I came in to see if something had delayed you. I didn't expect to see you being bullied. Do you need help? Butler Wu spoke politely, but inexplicably gave everyone in the Yun family a feeling that he was not easy to mess with. Yun Songcheng's eyes were full of fear, and his hand was frozen in midair, neither reaching out nor lowering, looking very awkward. Butler Wu took a glance and the temperature in his tone dropped. What is Mr. Yun doing? Are you planning to attack the admiral's wife again? Yun Songcheng's expression changed, and then he put his hand down awkwardly. Yun Miao saw the changes in the Yun family and felt more grateful for the appearance of Butler Wu. With him around, I think the Yun family won't dare to make things difficult for me anymore. Yun Miao wanted to go upstairs and search by himself, but Yun Bei refused to move. Butler Wu asked her in confusion and found out the reason. Mr. Yun, please return madam's things. Butler Wu looked at Yun Songcheng neither servilely nor arrogantly, but his tone made it impossible to refuse. Yun Songcheng was a little annoyed. Yu Qingru also explained excitedly. Butler Wu, don't listen to her nonsense. How could our Bayer be interested in her things? Yun Miao looked at it leisurely and said casually, if that's the case, then let me search it. Why keep stopping me? Butler Wu nodded, and his attitude became much tougher. If Mr. Yun insists on not wanting to do so, I can go back and ask the admiral for a search warrant. However, the outcome will not be under my control. The person may even be convicted. Don't go. When Yun Bei heard that she was going to be convicted, she immediately tried to stop it. Her guilty and nervous look was so obvious that anyone with a discerning eye could understand the deep meaning behind it. Yun Songcheng was so angry that he almost hit someone again, but after all, she was his daughter, so he couldn't bring himself to do it. Why don't you go and hand over the things? You are embarrassing yourself. Yun Songcheng roared in frustration. Yun Bei didn't dare to delay, and hurriedly went upstairs to find the pearls she had thrown in the corner. I return your broken pearl to you. Yun Bei reluctantly threw the pearl necklace back into Yun Miao's hand. The moment she raised her eyes, they were full of resentment. It was all because of her. Not only did I get slapped in the face, but I also lost face in front of outsiders. It was such a huge shame. Just wait for me, Yun Bei muttered with gritted teeth, and after being glanced at by Butler Wu, she avoided his sight in dismay. Do you have anything else you want to take? Butler Wu asked. Yun Miao thought about it and shook his head. This is the only thing I want to take away. As for the others, they are not mine and I don't need them. When the original owner was found, all the things he had were thrown away by Yun Bei as garbage. In that case, there is no need for me to take anything. Let's go. Yun Miao got the only thing he wanted to take away, and there was no need for him to stay any longer. With Butler Wu following him, Yun Songcheng had no choice but to let Yun Miao leave even though he was furious. As soon as he walked out of the Yun family's gate, Yun Miao saw a silver and blue, cool-looking hovercraft slowly descending. The car door opened and a man walked out. Yun Miao looked over and happened to meet the man's eyes. It's Yun Hao. When the other person saw him, he seemed stunned for a moment, then he showed a gentle smile and walked towards Yun Miao. Miao Miao, I thought you would go home today, so I took a leave and rushed back. Where are you going? Yun Hao has a warm smile and looks like a good brother who cares about his sister. Unfortunately, it only looks like it. If he really cared about her, why would he choose to be perfunctory and avoid her when she wanted help? After all, the indifference and alienation hidden under false feelings are only something that she, in the past, cannot see through. I'm back to get something, I'll be leaving now. Not wanting to have much contact with Yun Hao, Yun Miao just brushed past Yun Hao who was walking towards him. Without stopping for a moment, he got directly into the pure black hover car parked outside. The smile on Yun Hao's face froze. He looked back in disbelief as Yun Miao drove away in the hovercraft. It took him a long time to come back to his senses. The smile on his face faded, as if he had thought of something. He turned around and quickened his pace into the house. As soon as he entered the door, Yun Hao saw the whole family sitting in the living room with the same grim expressions. Yun Bei leaned in Yu Qingru's arms and sobbed, as if she had suffered a great injustice. Cry, why are you crying? You should have thought about the consequences of what you did. Now you have made the Yun family embarrassed along with you, and you still have the nerve to cry. Yun Songcheng slammed the table in anger. Compared to his daughter, perhaps his face was more important. Dad, Mom, what's going on? Yun Hao stepped forward and asked in confusion. Seeing his son come back, the anger on Yun Songcheng's face eased a little, but his tone was still stiff. What else can you do? Ask your sister. Yun Hao glanced at Yun Bei and had some guesses in his mind, but after asking what happened, he became as angry as Yun Songcheng. You are so ignorant. What did I tell you before? I told you to get along well with her. Now that her status is different, you can still use her, but you didn't listen. After Yun Hao's reminder, Yun Songcheng and Yu Qingru, who were still very angry, finally remembered. They originally wanted to talk to her about Yun Hao joining the 7th Legion, but in a fit of anger, they forgot such an important matter. Chapter 7. His temperament does not match. After leaving the Yun family, Yun Miao felt an unprecedented sense of relief. From now on, I won't have to face those sinister people in the Yun family, nor will I have to continue to contact those who hold ill will towards me. I think my life should be easy. Next, I will find myself a job and save money slowly. Then maybe I can move out of the general's mansion earlier. Yun Miao was happily planning her future path, and before she knew it, the hovercraft had stopped in front of the admiral's mansion. When I returned to the admiral's mansion, I felt a cool feeling coming from the huge house as soon as I opened the door. Butler Wu seemed to have gotten used to it and was ready to return to his post after entering the door. Butler Wu, thank you for what you did today. Before Butler Wu left, Yun Miao stopped him. The other person turned around and smiled, but didn't say much. He just nodded slightly and went straight upstairs. Yun Miao watched from where he was, and after a moment he returned to his room. Dong dong dong. Butler Wu knocked on the door and waited for a few moments before pushing the door open and walking in. The room is very large. It is a suite, with a bedroom for rest inside and a large desk outside, designed as an office area. There were no lights on and no open curtains in the room, so it looked dark and a bit depressing. Butler Wu first walked to the window and drew open the curtains. When he turned around, he saw his own admiral sitting in a wheelchair, leaning back on the backrest, with his eyes closed and his brows furrowed, seeming to be very uncomfortable. Admiral, is your head hurting again? Butler Wu was already used to his admiral having headaches, so seeing this, he quickly took out a tube of medicine from the cabinet and handed it to Feng Chengyuan. After Feng Chengyuan took it, he tilted his head back and drank it. The effect of the medicine took effect quickly, and after a while, Feng Chengyuan's brows slowly relaxed. As the matter settled, Feng Chengyuan spoke, his voice low and hoarse. Butler Wu nodded and told Feng Chengyuan what happened in the Yun family today. After listening to this, Feng Chengyuan was silent for a moment and then sneered. It's ridiculous that all your plans turn out to be in vain. Butler Wu smiled faintly and said nothing, but nodded slightly. Those people in the Yun family were indeed too confident. They dared to plot against the admiral simply because they took advantage of the fact that the admiral had no energy to take care of those boring things. But in the end, they did not get what they wanted. What are the arrangements for Miss Yun? Asked Butler Wu. Feng Chengyuan thought about it and waved his hand casually, as if he had lost some patience. If she is more obedient, then we can just let her do what she wants, but if she doesn't know what is good for her, then there is no need to let her do what she wants. Yes. Butler Wu bowed his head and agreed, then changed the subject. The hospital has sent a message asking you to arrange a time to go over and take a look. Upon hearing this, Feng Chengyuan closed his eyes again and gently pressed his forehead with his fingers a few times. It seemed that the unbearable pain was coming back again. I understand. Just go and make the arrangements. When Butler Wu saw Feng Chengyuan's appearance, he couldn't help but frown, his eyes full of worry. The admiral's headaches are becoming more and more frequent. These are all the aftereffects of the previous mental outburst. In fact, the symptoms of headache also reflect the admiral's current physical condition. The more frequent his headaches were, the more violent and chaotic his mental state became. This is not a good phenomenon. This is because if the spiritual sea remains in such a state for a long time, it is very easy to collapse, and then the person will not be able to survive. In today's world, 8 out of 10 people have mental power, the only difference is the strength. But no matter how strong the mental power is, there will be times when the mental sea riots, which is almost inevitable. Although medicine has developed drugs that can calm mental turmoil, it has not yet developed a solution that can completely solve this problem. Every year, countless people die from mental outbursts. However, there are very few people like Feng Chengyuan who have experienced a mental outburst and still managed to survive. But even Feng Chengyuan suffered considerable physical damage after that incident. Butler Wu looked at the miserable Feng Chengyuan, and after thinking for a while he decided to go to the kitchen and bring him a glass of milk. Yun Miao returned to her room and prepared to put her things away. That pearl was the only thing left by the original owner, and Yun Miao decided to keep it well. Just when she was about to put down the pearl necklace, Yun Miao suddenly had an inexplicable feeling and wanted to keep it with her. Strangeness. Could it be that the original owners will still remains? Because this pearl is very important to her, so she wants to carry it with her. Yun Miao couldn't figure it out, so he couldn't help but look at the pearl. This pearl is not big, but it is about the size of a thumb, and looks very round and full. At first glance, it is not much different from ordinary pearls, but if you look closely, you can see that this pearl seems to have hundreds of colors dazzling in the sun. No wonder Yun Bei, who is so arrogant, would want to take the pearl for herself. As far as she could remember, she had been wearing this pearl since she was a child, and it should be the only thing her mother left her. It was only after returning to the Yun family and being ridiculed by Yun Bei several times that he took it off. Yun Miao looked at the pearl necklace for a long time but couldn't figure out what it was. After hesitating, she finally put the necklace back around her neck. After staying in the room for a while, Yun Miao went downstairs to the kitchen. Butler Wu helped Yun Miao a lot today, and Yun Miao felt that he should express his gratitude to him. But I have no money now, so I can't even buy him a small gift. After thinking about it, I feel that the best thing I can show off right now is my cooking skills. So Yun Miao decided to cook a meal himself as a thank you to Butler Wu. When Yun Miao came to the kitchen, he ran into Butler Wu. Looking at the milk in Butler Wu's hand, Yun Miao was a little surprised. This is for the admiral. If you need it, there is another cup in the kitchen. It is reserved for you. After Butler Wu finished speaking, he walked out of the kitchen with the milk. After a while, Yun Miao burst out laughing. I never thought that the admiral would drink milk. It doesn't match his icy temperament at all. Yun Miao complained and started looking for ingredients for cooking in the kitchen refrigerator. It is called a refrigerator, but it would be more accurate to call it a cold storage room, because the space inside is so huge, and it contains all kinds of fruits, vegetables, and meat, even some types that I have never even seen before. The world of the rich is indeed different from what mortals like me imagine. Yun Miao clicked his tongue twice and quickly picked out the ingredients he wanted. Chapter 8 The Admiral's stomach is in your hands. Yun Miao's cooking skills are pretty good. At least the dishes she made look delicious and tasty, making people very appetizing at first sight. After preparing everything, Yun Miao couldn't wait to go upstairs, but he hesitated for a moment when he looked at the room at the end of the corridor. Butler Wu once said that we should try not to disturb Feng Chengyuan. But I'm just inviting him to dinner, so it shouldn't be considered a bother, right? Yun Miao muttered to himself, hesitated for a moment, and walked towards the room. Standing at the door, Yun Miao knocked on the door. After a moment, the door was opened from the inside. Butler Wu appeared behind the door and was a little surprised when he saw Yun Miao. Ms. Yun, what can I do for you? Yun Miao glanced behind the door, and happened to meet a pair of cold and murderous eyes. For a moment, Yun Miao felt as if he was in a world of ice and snow, and he shivered for no apparent reason. It's time for dinner. I made some food. Do you want to come and eat? Yun Miao asked tentatively, but neither of the two people on the opposite side answered. One of them looked at him with a puzzled expression, while the other one stared at him with deep eyes. Both of them seemed to be doubting something. Yun Miao felt embarrassed for a moment and made up an excuse for himself. I just wanted to thank you for helping me. If you don't like it, forget it. Yun Miao turned around and ran away immediately after she finished speaking. She felt that if she stayed for one more second, Feng Chengyuan would dissect her with his eyes. Today she finally saw what a sharp look in the eyes meant. After Yun Miao left, Butler Wu turned around and looked at Feng Chengyuan, and said with a smile, General, I think this Miss Yun is not bad. Feng Chengyuan glanced at him and said nothing. Why don't you go take a look? Feng Chengyuan glanced at Butler Wu and also saw the eagerness in the other's eyes. Yun Miao returned to the restaurant and looked at the dishes on the table and couldn't help but sigh. It seems that all the efforts today have been wasted. From Feng Chengyuan's look just now, it was obvious that he was unhappy because he was disturbed. I don't think he will come out, right? Just when Yun Miao was thinking about eating alone, he heard the sound of wheels turning behind him. Looking back, I saw Feng Chengyuan and Butler Wu appear at the door of the restaurant. Didn't you say you would treat us to a meal? It was rare for Feng Chengyuan to take the initiative to answer Yun Miao's question, which surprised Yun Miao for a moment. Seeing that the two had arrived at the dining table, Yun Miao came to his senses and immediately went to prepare tableware for them, but was stopped by Butler Wu. "I'll do it." Butler Wu asked Yun Miao to sit down first, and he went to the kitchen to get tableware and set the table for Feng Chengyuan and himself. Yun Miao hesitated for a moment and sat down on Feng Chengyuan's right. These are all made by me, you can have a taste." The atmosphere at the dinner table was a bit solemn, which made Yun Miao feel uncomfortable, so he tried to find a topic to ease the tension. Feng Chengyuan glanced at the dishes on the table, his expression slightly moved in his eyes, as deep as a pool, and even his eyebrows twitched slightly. There were 3 dishes and 1 soup on the table, a dish of sweet and sour pork ribs, a dish of squirrel fish, a dish of scrambled eggs with tomatoes, and a dish of vegetarian soup. The dining table has an automatic keep warm function, so even if the dishes have been on the table for a while, they are still steaming hot and exude a mouth-watering aroma. "Did you make all this yourself, Miss Yun?" Butler Wu exclaimed in surprise as he looked at the food on the table, his eyes full of disbelief. Yun Miao was a little confused by his reaction. "Aren't they just a few dishes? Is there any need to be so surprised?" Yes. Yun Miao hesitated. When cooking these dishes, she was shocked by the high-tech equipment in the kitchen. If it weren't for those smart kitchen appliances, Yun Miao felt that it would take her at least 1 or 2 hours to cook these dishes by herself. But after finishing, it took less than an hour in total, which was really time-saving. Thinking too far ahead, Yun Miao regained his composure and looked towards Butler Wu. After being shocked, Butler Wu immediately put some food into Feng Chengyuan's bowl. After Feng Chengyuan tasted it, he couldn't wait to ask, "General, what do you think?" Upon hearing this, Yun Miao looked at Feng Chengyuan nervously, as if he was waiting for a verdict, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. After Feng Chengyuan took a bite of the dish, he paused and looked at the fish in the bowl with some surprise, with a bright light flashing in his eyes. "How long has it been since I last tasted such authentic food?" Feng Chengyuan was thinking about it, but he had even forgotten it. "Maybe it's because I haven't tasted it since my mother passed away." "Admiral, how does it taste? Are you satisfied?" Seeing Feng Chengyuan paused, Yun Miao's heart began to tighten, fearing that the other party did so because he thought the food was unpalatable, so he couldn't wait to know the answer. After hearing this, Feng Chengyuan raised his eyes to look at Yun Miao and Butler Wu who were sitting on both sides of him. Tasty. It was rare for Feng Chengyuan to give such a high evaluation. Yun Miao's heart, which had been hanging in the air, finally felt relieved. "I don't know why, but I care about Feng Chengyuan's opinion. Maybe it's because this is his home." After receiving a positive answer, Yun Miao's mood also improved. When people are happy, they are even less afraid of Feng Chengyuan. Suddenly, the atmosphere at the table became much better. "By the way, Butler Wu, why were you so surprised just now?" Yun Miao asked out of his curiosity. Butler Wu had investigated Yun Miao's affairs, so he knew what kind of life she had led before, so he answered truthfully, "In today's society, people's food is often replaced by nutrient solution, but in the upper-class circles, various cooking methods are still circulated. It's just that because of the lack of attention paid to inheritance, the recipes have been lost, so the dishes that can be made now are very limited. It is precisely because of this that I was extremely shocked when I saw the dishes you made." Feng Chengyuan listened to Butler Wu's excited answer, raised his eyes to look at Yun Miao inconspicuously, and a hint of deep meaning flashed in his eyes. Why does the other party know these things? Didn't he grow up in the slums? Where did he learn these things? Yun Miao didn't know yet that Feng Chengyuan was suspecting her. After hearing what Butler Wu said, she was completely shocked. So, there are very few people in this world who can cook. The ingredients in that kitchen. Yun Miao remembered the shock he felt when he was looking for ingredients, and couldn't help but feel confused. Butler Wu glanced at Feng Chengyuan and said with a smile, "Of course it's for the admiral. Although I can't cook these dishes that look very delicate at first glance, I have always been trying, but I think it may not be necessary in the future." Yun Miao, Butler Wu, Miss Yun, my admiral's stomach will be in your hands from now on. Yun Miao, Chapter 9 I want to find a job. The dishes made by Yun Miao received rave reviews from Butler Wu. Even Feng Chengyuan, whom Yun Miao thought would look down on these dishes, rarely spoke up and expressed his approval of her cooking skills. This made Yun Miao, who had not held much hope that Feng Chengyuan would be satisfied with his cooking skills, very happy. At the dinner table, Yun Miao discovered through close contact that Feng Chengyuan was not as difficult to get along with as she had thought. Just because he always has a stern face, people would first think he is a very scary person, but after eating at the same table with him, Yun Miao felt that he was actually not that bad. Ignoring his icy temperament, his attack power was reduced to an acceptable range. After discovering this, Yun Miao remembered his plan. So he boldly asked, I want to go out and find a job tomorrow. Is that possible? As soon as these words were spoken, the other two people at the table stopped what they were doing and looked at Yun Miao. Why? Feng Chengyuan frowned and said indifferently, I think, with my ability, I can still support you. Yun Miao, Yun Miao waved his hands and said with a wry smile, what you said is just like I'm being kept. Feng Chengyuan's expression remained unchanged, and he nodded, isn't it? Yun contract marriage living under someone else's roof Miao. It cannot be refuted, how can it be corrected? Although he felt that what Feng Chengyuan said was correct, Yun Miao would never admit it himself. But I don't want to stay at home all day and do nothing. I'll die. Yun Miao said this exaggeratedly, looking at Feng Chengyuan expectantly. Feng Chengyuan was silent for a moment, then said casually, it's up to you. After saying that, he put down his bowl and chopsticks, controlled the wheelchair and left the restaurant. Perhaps it was because of this delicious meal that Butler Wu had a better impression of Yun Miao, or it was for some other reason, but Yun Miao felt that Butler Wu became much more sincere when he smiled at her. Miss Yun, don't worry. Since the admiral has agreed, you just need to do it. If you need any help, you can tell me. After leaving a word, Butler Wu also left. Yun Miao was stunned for a moment, then suddenly cheered softly. Great! Finally, we have taken a step towards a bright and free future. The table was cleaned by an intelligent housekeeping robot. After Yun Miao put down his bowl and chopsticks, he returned to his room. She had to check online to see if there were any job openings, and also check the routes outside. After Yun Miao came to the admiral's mansion, he replaced his optical computer at the request of Butler Wu. Although it was not the latest model, it was many times better than the basic version he had used before. After turning on the optical computer, Yun Miao couldn't wait to search for the information he wanted. After browsing for an hour, Yun Miao finally wrote down everything he needed. Perhaps because of his anticipation for the future, Yun Miao felt a lot more relaxed and was in the mood to browse the Star Network. After a while, Yun Miao opened the largest blog forum on the Star Network and was immediately bombarded with a variety of information. Xingbo headlines the list of participants in the Federal Mecha competition. It is reported that General Feng Chengyuan of the 7th Legion may serve as a judge. Is the news true? If not, I will sacrifice my dog. Head to the gods. Closing square bracket. I just want to see the real general. I heard he is very handsome. I think so too. The admiral rarely visited the Guangxi platform before, so I don't even have a high-definition screenshot. I want to lick it. Closing square bracket. Question mark. What kind of lecherous speech is this above? You dare to lick an iceberg like that? Don't you want your tongue anymore? Closing square bracket. Question mark, question mark. Yun Miao flipped through it casually and found that many people were talking about Feng Chengyuan. The comments were both good and bad. She just read it for a while and then changed her mind. It's not that she has no interest in Feng Chengyuan, but she thinks getting to know someone from other people's mouth is the most boring thing. After closing Xingbo, Yun Miao opened a video website, clicked on a live broadcast room, and started to kill time. The video shows a young female anchor who appears to be in her 20s. She is currently chatting with someone about the upcoming mecha competition. Yun Miao watched for a while and was about to quit when he heard the female anchor say that she was going to sing for everyone. Yun Miao hesitated for a moment, but decided to stay and watch. The accompaniment sounded, the female host began to sing, and then Yun Miao stared in amazement at the rotten eggs floating across the screen. I was careless. I was careless. I thought the host's singing skills had improved, and now it seems that they have indeed improved, killing people without being seen. I'd pay a lot of money for a pair of ears that I've never heard before. Question mark, question mark. Yun Miao found it so funny that she couldn't help laughing, but the next piece of news she saw made her fall into a brief period of contemplation. Anchor. I can't help it. The entertainment live broadcast is not doing well right now. People want to watch mecha live broadcasts more. I can only think of ways to benefit everyone. It's better not to have this benefit. Closing square bracket. Host, you should just be a good emotional host. Listen to me and don't cross the line. Yun Miao didn't continue reading, but couldn't help muttering in his heart. The live broadcast industry in this world seems to focus more on mechas, and entertainment live broadcasts are much inferior in comparison. But even so, his popularity is much higher than those top streamers he had seen in his previous life. If this is called a bad economy, Yun Miao has no idea what the top streamers in this world are like. After killing some time, Yun Miao didn't take the matter to heart. He made some preparations and was going to find a job for himself tomorrow. The next day, Yun Miao got up early and got ready. The housekeeping robot had already prepared breakfast. When Butler Wu brought breakfast to Feng Chengyuan, he happened to run into Yun Miao, who was walking out of the room. Miss Yun is going out so early. Yun Miao nodded and was about to go out in a hurry. Butler Wu asked if she needed a car to take her out. Yun Miao didn't want to trouble Butler Wu, so she refused directly. Butler Wu looked at Yun Miao's back as he left, and without saying anything more, he went straight to Feng Chengyuan's room. At this moment, Feng Chengyuan was reading quietly on the balcony. The leisure time in the morning was a rare time for him to relax. When Butler Wu came over, he saw Feng Chengyuan holding a book in his hand, but he was not paying attention to the book. Instead, he tilted his head to look at a certain place downstairs. Butler Wu walked forward and took a casual look, and happened to see that familiar figure walking quickly away along the winding mountain road in the shade of the trees. You didn't send a car to take her? Feng Chengyuan asked casually, his tone as if he was asking if the weather was really nice today. Butler Wu replied. She said no. After thinking about it, Butler Wu showed a faint smile on his face. I think she might regret it. Upon hearing this, Feng Chengyuan withdrew his gaze, but in the instant he lowered his eyes, an inexplicable emotion flashed across his eyes. Chapter 10. Who will save me? When Yun Miao walked for nearly 2 hours and finally came down the mountain, she finally understood why Butler Wu looked at her like that when she was leaving. How could she forget that this world is different from her previous life? In this world, a hovercraft can reach the destination in a very short time. This is why Yun Miao mistakenly believed that the place where she lived was not far from the foot of the mountain. As it turned out, I was really overthinking it. After finally finding a place where he could take the floating bus, Yun Miao was still worried that even the bus might not come to such a remote place. Fortunately, that did not happen, and Yun Miao got on the floating bus smoothly. Heading all the way towards the city, Yun Miao didn't meet many people after getting on the bus because he got on the suburbs. However, after passing several stops, many people got on one after another. Yun Miao got off the bus in the city center, and then started looking for a job according to the strategy he had prepared in advance. But the progress was not as smooth as she had expected. This world is not like the previous life, where the streets were crowded with people. Because of the development of the Star Network, everyone can log into the Star Network and place an order in the virtual mall to buy anything they like, and the delivery speed is super fast, which makes everyone's life much more convenient. Therefore, people in this world prefer to buy things on the Star Network, which has also reduced the number of people shopping outside. Yun Miao tried several companies, but the results were not satisfactory. Just when Yun Miao was about to think of another solution, the optical computer communication suddenly rang. Yun Miao wondered, who would contact him at this time. After clicking on the contact, I found out it was Feng Chengyuan. Yun Miao hesitated for a moment, but still connected the light computer, and then a virtual light screen appeared in front of him. "Where are you?" Feng Chengyuan's steady voice sounded, and his handsome yet cold face also appeared on the light screen at the same time. Yun Miao was surprised for a moment, but then told Feng Chengyuan where he was. Just when Yun Miao wanted to ask Feng Chengyuan what he was doing with his position, he heard the other party just say, "Okay," and then hung up the phone, decisively and quickly. Yun Miao, what a weirdo, Yun Miao complained and ignored Feng Chengyuan. She was going to see if there were any other opportunities, but just as she was thinking this, a very ruffian voice came from behind her. "Miss, are you alone? How about letting the brothers go shopping with you?" Yun Miao turned around and saw three well-dressed but ruffian-looking young men looking at him with sly smiles. Yun Miao frowned. He didn't expect that there would be such people in the world today. He didn't want to pay any attention to him, so he turned around and left. But Yun Miao didn't expect that the three people seemed to have identified her, and no matter where Yun Miao went, the three people followed her. Yun Miao, knowing that they had bad intentions, felt uneasy and hesitated as to whether he should go back today to avoid any trouble. Just as he was thinking this, he saw the three men suddenly quicken their pace and move towards him. Yun Miao's expression froze and he also quickened his pace to escape. But those people were well prepared. They immediately dispersed and rushed to Yun Miao in a few steps. They surrounded her and blocked all her escape routes. "Don't be in such a hurry to leave. Miss Sister is so beautiful. Come play games with us for a while." "That's right, it's no fun to leave in such a hurry." "Don't worry, we are just playing a game, don't be scared." The three men kept approaching Yun Miao, and the obscene expressions on their faces really made Yun Miao feel nauseous. "Don't come over here, I'm calling the police." Yun Miao shook the computer in his hand, and the alarm page was clearly displayed on it. "Fuck, the little bitch is shameless, catch her for me." The leading man suddenly roared angrily and rushed towards Yun Miao. Yun Miao was always alert. When the other party pounced on him, he dodged flexibly, then turned around and fled in another direction. However, how could a girl like her outrun three grown men, so Yun Miao was soon caught up. "Someone come, help, Yun Miao was just about to call for help when something suddenly sprayed on his face. Before she could react, she suddenly felt as if all the strength was gone from her body, and she fell limply to the ground. What happened? Yun Miao couldn't believe it, but she struggled hard but couldn't get up. "Don't waste your energy. Once you inhale my medicine, you will be a lamb to be slaughtered." The three men burst into laughter. Yun Miao felt desperate. "Is it possible that I will not be able to escape my fate today?" Seeing the three men approaching him step by step, Yun Miao suddenly felt extremely frightened. She didn't even have the strength to speak, let alone call for help. "So, who will save me?" Yun Miao screamed in pain in his heart, but in the end he could only close his eyes in fear. However, just when Yun Miao was in despair, he did not wait for anything bad to happen. Instead, he heard several miserable howls of pain, accompanied by a dull sound, like something heavy falling to the ground. Yun Miao's heart tightened, as if he had thought of something. He quickly opened his eyes and looked, and saw that the three men who had just wanted to do something bad to him were now lying on the ground, holding their heads and wailing in pain. A figure sitting in a wheelchair fell into Yun Miao's eyes against the light, and in an instant, Yun Miao felt a tearful feeling in his nose. "Your Excellency, Admiral," Yun Miao spoke weakly and reached out his hand towards the man with difficulty. The other party did not make any movement and seemed to be just staring at him quietly. Yun Miao didn't know how miserable she was at the moment. She just stretched out her hand until she had no strength left. Her hand fell heavily to the ground and she completely passed out. This look fell into Feng Chengyuan's eyes, and his usually calm eyes were tinged with anger. The three men were still lying on the ground, holding their heads and wailing. Just now, their brains were suddenly attacked by a strong mental force. The violent impact made them feel as if their brains were crushed and the pain was unbearable. However, the pain is not over yet. Just after Yun Miao fell into coma, Feng Chengyuan swept a cold gaze across the three people on the ground, then a slowly chilling smile appeared at the corner of his lips, and he violently exerted his mental power to press towards the three men. All three of them showed expressions of fear, and before they could even scream, their eyes widened completely, and then there was no movement. Check out our playlist for more amazing novels. Chapter 11. You are actually this kind of Feng Chengyuan. Admiral, you are. Butler Wu had just sent away the police officers who had rushed over, and this was the scene he saw. The three men fell to the ground, not knowing whether they were dead or alive. Yun Miao also fell to the side, his condition unknown. Feng Chengyuan rubbed his forehead with his hand, looking very uncomfortable. Seeing such a scene, what else does Butler Wu not understand? Those three men must have been attacked by Feng Chengyuan's mental power. However, it was precisely because of this that Butler Wu was so shocked and even showed a look of worry. Your mental strength. I'll leave those three men to you. Feng Chengyuan asked Butler Wu to hold Yun Miao in his arms, and then he took her back to the hovercraft. The three men who fainted were handed over to Butler Wu to deal with. He believed that Butler Wu would understand what he meant. Although Yun Miao and he only have a contractual marriage, she is still his person. These blind guys dare to target Yun Miao. What's the difference between this and directly attacking him? These people must be taught a profound lesson. Leaving Butler Wu to deal with the three people, Feng Chengyuan took Yun Miao back to the general's mansion. After getting a housekeeping robot to carry Yun Miao back to the room and put her on the bed, Feng Chengyuan looked at the unconscious Yun Miao for a moment, then he directly controlled the wheelchair and prepared to return to his room. But just as he reached the door, he heard Yun Miao groaning uncomfortably behind him, and he seemed to be in great pain. Feng Chengyuan looked back, hesitated for a moment, and returned to the bed. Hot, so hot. Yun Miao was still in a coma, but he was mumbling. Her brows were tightly furrowed, beads of sweat appeared on her forehead, and her cheeks were flushed. Feng Chengyuan reached out and touched Yun Miao's forehead, and was immediately shocked by the scorching temperature. Having a high fever. What kind of medicine did those three men spray on her? Feng Chengyuan thought about it, turned on the light computer and dialed a number. Soon, a handsome face with a hint of evil charm appeared on the light screen. Give me your things and come over here for a minute. Feng Chengyuan said succinctly. The man on the other side seemed very surprised. He was stunned for a moment before suddenly exclaiming, Feng Chengyuan, have you figured it out? I've told you a long time ago that your spiritual sea is the most resilient I've ever seen. If you let me study it, I'm sure I'll gain a lot. If you keep talking nonsense, don't come over. Feng Chengyuan glared at the other person coldly, and immediately made him swallow back a lot of words. Okay, wait, I'll be right there. After saying that, the call was immediately disconnected. Feng Chengyuan hesitated for a moment, but decided to stay and wait. In less than 10 minutes, a very cool dark purple hovercraft stopped outside the admiral's mansion. Feng Chengyuan's ears moved slightly, and he heard a burst of hurried footsteps through the door. Then the door was pushed open suddenly, and a face that he had just seen less than 10 minutes ago appeared in front of him. Following behind him was Butler Wu, who had just returned from dealing with the matters assigned by Feng Chengyuan. Feng Chengyuan, let me check it quickly. The man looked excited and came to Feng Chengyuan with a white suitcase, completely ignoring everything else around him. Butler Wu noticed Yun Miao lying on the bed. Seeing that she was not in a good condition, he couldn't help but ask worriedly, what happened to Miss Yun? At this time, Feng Chengyuan blocked the man who came forward, pointed at Yun Miao on the bed and said, It's not me, I want you to see her. Zhang Zhou, I told you that my spiritual sea is not suitable for you to study, it's too dangerous. The man called Zhang Zhou curled his lips, and seeing that Feng Chengyuan's expression did not seem fake, he reluctantly gave up his original plan, came to the bedside, and began to examine Yun Miao. I thought you would just leave the other person alone after you got married, but I didn't expect you to care about him so much. Zhang Zhou checked it, mumbling to himself a few times. Feng Chengyuan looked at Yun Miao's face, and his expression did not change at all. I'm not that unkind. After all, we each get what we need. Zhang Zhou nodded without comment and began to take out injections from the medicine box. How? It's not a big deal. I was just drugged. I'll be fine after taking the drug and getting some sleep. Then why did she develop a high fever? Maybe it's a physical problem. She'll be fine once her body metabolizes the drugs. Quote. Yun Miao seemed to hear Feng Chengyuan's voice in a daze. He seemed to be talking to someone, discussing his own situation, but the voice was so distant and near that it was difficult to hear clearly. She really wanted to say, "Stop discussing this." She was almost dying of the heat, but she couldn't even speak at the moment, so naturally she had no way to express what she meant. Yun Miao is very hot now, and feels like being in magma. It feels like the skin and flesh are about to fall off the body due to the heat. In addition to the heat, there was also an itchy feeling coming from the bones, as if countless tiny insects were crawling around in the body. She was enduring torture, but she didn't even have the strength to call for help. Okay, I've already given her the medicine. We just have to wait for the fever to go away. Zhang Zhou put away the syringe that had just been used to inject the medicine and raised his eyebrows confidently at Feng Chengyuan. I believe in my medical skills, so have you decided to study it? Feng Chengyuan, you can leave now. Zhang Zhou was shocked. You're such a Feng Chengyuan, you throw it away after using it. I didn't expect you to be so ruthless. Feng Chengyuan rolled his eyes at him. This isn't the first day you've known me. Zhang Zhou acted like she holding her heart and pointed at Feng Chengyuan with accusatory eyes. You will lose me as a friend if you do this, do you know that? Feng Chengyuan rubbed his forehead and waved his hand casually, saying, let's just lose it. It's useless to keep it except for wanting to study me all day long. Zhang Zhou was speechless for a moment. Steward Wu was watching the two people bickering with a comforting smile on his face. After all, the admiral had rarely shown his emotions since he woke up from his coma. It was remarkable that young Master Zhang Zhou could make the admiral talk so much. However, when he saw Feng Chengyuan rubbing his forehead from time to time, he immediately calmed down. He took a step forward and stood directly in front of Zhang Zhou. Master Zhang Zhou, the admiral needs to rest. This means seeing you off. Zhang Zhou glared at Butler Wu with bared teeth, but after a moment he chose to compromise. There's nothing I can do. Who told me I can't win? I'm telling you, you'll lose me as your good friend sooner or later. Even if you cry and beg me, I won't change my mind. Zhang Zhou picked up his things and was reluctantly sent out by Butler Wu, mumbling something. Suddenly, the room became quiet. Feng Chengyuan came to the bedside, glanced at Yun Miao, who was quieter than before and seemed to have fallen asleep, then turned the wheelchair and went out. This time he did not stop at all, nor did he return to his room. Instead, he went downstairs and went directly into the basement. Chapter 12. Premonition of Mental Power Riot. As soon as Butler Wu saw Zhang Zhou off, he immediately went to the basement. The entire basement here has been turned into a practice ground. The surrounding walls have been reinforced and equipped with special isolation equipment to prevent the use of mental power from being detected by the outside world. General, you shouldn't have driven Master Zhang Zhou away. With him around, maybe you can find a way to control your situation. Butler Wu frowned and looked at Feng Chengyuan, feeling very worried. As early as when he saw Feng Chengyuan using his mental power to subdue the three men, Butler Wu became worried that this would cause mental chaos. However, he did not expect that he would not be able to avoid it in the end. After Feng Chengyuan came to the basement, he could no longer maintain his outward calm and revealed a slightly painful expression. He could feel his spiritual sea surging, which was the prelude to a mental riot. Your Excellency the Admiral, Butler Wu was extremely worried, but this was not something he could help with. Go outside and guard it first. Feng Chengyuan gave the order as usual. Butler Wu nodded, put away all the medicines, then retreated outside and closed the specially reinforced door. I don't know how many times this has happened. Once mental power riots, it is like a crack appearing in a solid dam. The riots will only become more frequent and more dangerous. However, there is currently no way to stop mental power riots. The only way to slow down the number of mental power riots is to reduce the use of mental power. But he happened to use it today. Outside the basement, Butler Wu sighed, thought about it and went upstairs to check on Yun Miao's condition. Yun Miao, who had been injected with the medicine, was now much calmer. After seeing that she was fine, Butler Wu went back to the basement door and waited. Yun Miao didn't know how long she had slept, but she could feel that she was not as hot as before. However, the itch from before was still there, and she couldn't help but start rolling around on the bed. In a trance, Yun Miao felt like she was staying in some closed place. She felt inexplicably restrained, which made her feel like she had difficulty breathing. She tried hard to break free from her restraints, but after struggling for a long time she failed. Just when she felt that all her strength was about to run out, a warm current suddenly came from her chest, giving her all her strength back. She opened her eyes in confusion, but saw only a colorful scene and nothing else. In the midst of that colorful light, there seemed to be a pure and bright white light floating up and down. Something rushed towards her body from there, a feeling with a hint of warmth, so comfortable that Yun Miao couldn't help but moan. After an unknown amount of time, Yun Miao felt that his whole body was filled with strength. He instinctively began to stretch his hands and feet, trying to make himself more comfortable. The next second, Yun Miao heard a sound like something breaking, and then Yun Miao felt a sense of comfort all over his body. What Yun Miao, who was in a wonderful feeling at this moment, didn't know was that an invisible and intangible energy wave spread out with her as the center, extending to an area of several miles before starting to shrink back, covering the entire villa before it stopped shrinking. It was just such a strange scene, and no one noticed it. Meanwhile, in the basement, Feng Chengyuan had already fallen into great pain. At this moment, he felt as if his head was going to explode, with waves of pricking sensations coming over him. He could only clasp his hands tightly on the armrests of the wheelchair and even purse his lips tightly, because only in this way could he prevent himself from uttering a painful groan. Ever since he woke up, his spiritual sea has been in a state of turmoil, and it is possible that another riot may occur at any time. If there is another riot, he might not be as lucky as before. An invisible energy wave rippled out from Feng Chengyuan's body, and then quickly swept through everything in the basement. In an instant, the training equipment seemed to be overturned by a huge force and became tilted all over the place. The wall seemed to be scratched by an invisible sharp blade, leaving scratches. Finally, when the pain that Feng Chengyuan endured reached a certain threshold, he could no longer hold back and uttered a painful sound. His body was shaking constantly, and the veins on the back of his hands were exposed. With that kind of force, if the wheelchair was not made of special materials, the armrests would have been deformed by now. The mental fluctuations erupting from his body became more violent. Those mental energies filled with tyranny not only destroyed everything around them, but also continued to destroy Feng Chengyuan's own body. If this continued, he would probably die in his own hands. However, just as Feng Chengyuan was enduring the pain and torment brought about by the turmoil of his mental power, he suddenly felt as if something had taken him into it. It was like falling into warm water in an instant. The warm feeling slowly eased the ubiquitous pain and torture until it finally subsided completely. Feng Chengyuan's frown slowly relaxed, and the strength with which he gripped the armrests of the wheelchair also slowly decreased. He closed his eyes, tilted his head back, and leaned against the back of the wheelchair, quietly enjoying this strange feeling of comfort. It was not until a long time later, when the feeling slowly faded away, that he slowly opened his eyes. What happened just now? Feng Chengyuan was confused, but couldn't figure it out. A feeling of exhaustion came from the depths of his soul, leaving Feng Chengyuan no time to think about anything else. He took a moment to calm down before calling Butler Wu. A moment later, Butler Wu appeared at the door. "Admiral, are you all right?" Seeing Feng Chengyuan sitting upright in a wheelchair, Butler Wu's face was full of surprise. In the past, when Feng Chengyuan showed signs of a mental outburst, it would always take half a day to calm down. How come it took so much less time this time? However, Butler Wu didn't have time to think about it, and hurried forward to help Feng Chengyuan check his physical condition. On the other side, in Yun Miao's room, the quilt was bulging high. Yun Miao, who had been tossing and turning before, had fallen into a deep sleep. This time, she no longer felt any discomfort. Instead, she seemed to have fallen into a wonderful dream, and even a faint smile appeared on the corners of her mouth. However, there seemed to be something hidden under the quilt. From time to time, it would suddenly shake under the quilt, as if something naughty was jumping around. Chapter 13 Fish Tale. Yun Miao rubbed his eyes, sat up from the bed, stretched himself, and felt refreshed like never before. But after a moment, she felt something was wrong again. Cough cough. She pinched her throat and felt it was very dry, which made her cough a few times. Strange. Could it be that you have a cold? Yun Miao murmured to herself, reached out to lift the quilt, and prepared to get up to get a glass of water. However, when she lifted the quilt, her eyes suddenly widened and she cried out in surprise. Ah, what's going on? My legs. When Yun Miao screamed, he immediately covered his mouth with his hand, fearing that someone would notice that something was wrong with him. Her originally white and slender legs had now turned into a fish tail with silver blue scales, so smooth that it was almost reflective. The sunlight outside the window shines on the fish's tail, reflecting a bright silver blue color. The tail fin is like a large fan with a blue-purple translucent skirt, which looks quite dreamy. Yun Miao exclaimed silently for a long time, her heart beating very fast at this moment. However, although it was a very strange scene, she was only frightened at first. After she calmed down, she felt that this was a natural thing, as if she was supposed to be like this. Yun Miao, it's so fucking natural, I must have mutated into another species just by sleeping. Yun Miao suddenly remembered everything that happened yesterday and his expression became solemn. Could it be because of the drugs those people sprayed on themselves? But what kind of drugs could have such an effect? Moreover, I seem to have had a bizarre dream last night. Could it be related to me turning into a fish? Yun Miao felt that there were thousands of thoughts in his head, but they were as tangled as a ball of wool and he couldn't make sense of them. What should we do now? My legs have turned into fish tails. If someone finds out about this, will I be sent directly to the laboratory? Thinking of Feng Chengyuan's cold expression, Yun Miao doubted whether this guess would become a reality. Yun Miao trembled unconsciously and shook his head to get rid of the image. The most important thing now is to hide the fact that you have a fish tail, but how to hide it? It would be great if my legs could return to normal. Yun Miao was praying in her heart, and the next second she suddenly felt a strange heat coming from the fish tail. She hurriedly looked towards her fish tail and saw a scene that surprised her. I only saw the silver blue fish tail, but in the blink of an eye it turned into a pair of legs, still as white and slender as before. Opening parenthesis question mark. Oh, Yun Miao was dumbfounded. Can you still do this? She quickly touched her legs and found that it was not her eyes playing tricks on her. Her legs had indeed transformed from a fishtail state into two legs. She exclaimed again. Great, this way we don't have to worry about being discovered. She didn't have time to think about it, so she quickly got up and changed her clothes. When she just came out of the cloakroom, someone knocked on the door. After opening the door, Butler Wu stood straight at the door. When he saw Yun Miao, he smiled and said, Miss Yun, are you feeling uncomfortable? If so, I will notify the doctor to come and check you out. Yun Miao thought about the changes in his body and was very alert about the doctor's examination. He quickly waved his hands and said, It's okay. I'm fine now. Thank you for your concern. Butler Wu looked at Yun Miao inconspicuously, and after confirming that she looked ready and there was nothing wrong with her, he nodded and said, The food is ready. Should we send it to your room, Miss Yun, or would you like to eat in the restaurant? I'd better go to the restaurant by myself. Butler Wu nodded and turned to leave. Yun Miao suddenly called him. Miss Yun, do you have anything else to say? Asked Butler Wu. Yun Miao thought of the scene he saw before he fell into a coma yesterday, and asked tentatively, General Feng helped me with what happened yesterday, right? Butler Wu was stunned for a moment, then nodded, Yes, when the admiral arrived, you had already been drugged by those people. He was the one who brought you back. As for those people, they have now been imprisoned. What awaits them should be the punishment of serving on a deserted planet, so Miss Yun does not need to worry. Yun Miao thought that was indeed the case, and after a moment of hesitation he continued, "Can I thank him in person?" Butler Wu's eyes flashed with surprise, and then he shook his head. "My Lord Admiral has important matters to attend to and may not be able to see you for the time being." After saying that, without waiting for Yun Miao to ask any more questions, he nodded to her and turned and left. Yun Miao looked at Butler Wu's back and always felt that the other party was hiding something, but he didn't think much about it and just went downstairs to eat. When Butler Wu pushed open the door and entered the room, Feng Chengyuan had just finished a video conference. Although he is now recuperating at home, he has not completely let go of the affairs in the Legion. Therefore, when he encounters something that requires his immediate attention, his deputy will send him a message, and then they will hold a video conference to solve the problem together. "Have you visited her? How is she?" Feng Chengyuan asked casually while flipping through the documents on the desk. "You look fine, no problem." Butler Wu walked to Feng Chengyuan's side and saw the untouched nutritious meal on the table. He couldn't help but persuade him, "General, if you don't eat on time, it will affect your health." Feng Chengyuan nodded casually, but his eyes did not move away from the document. Butler Wu, who knew his character, had no choice but to change the subject. "Do you really not need to go to the hospital for another checkup today? After all, last night..." Feng Chengyuan paused for a moment, then shook his head firmly. "I asked you to check the abnormal situation that occurred at that time last night. Did you find anything?" Feng Chengyuan thought about the strange changes that happened to him last night, which forced him to take this matter seriously. Butler Wu shook his head. The protection system did detect a mental fluctuation at that time, but the duration of the fluctuation did not meet the standard for tracing the source, so it is impossible to determine the source of the mental fluctuation. After thinking for a while, Butler Wu hesitated and said, "Will you take some spiritual power from Miss Yun?" Feng Chengyuan shook his head. Her mental power level and frequency band are not as high as last night. It can't be her. As soon as these words came out, both of them fell into a brief silence. After a moment, Feng Chengyuan said, "Continue investigating and make sure to find that person." It is simply unimaginable that he could calm down his mental power when he was about to fall into a mental chaos. Perhaps that person is the key to breaking through the bottleneck that once the mental power erupts, it cannot be calmed down by oneself. Yes, Butler Wu agreed and prepared to leave to complete the task assigned by Feng Chengyuan. However, before he reached the door, there was a knock on the door. Chapter 14. Good Man Feng Chengyuan. The door opened, revealing Yun Miao's somewhat nervous face. "Well, after thinking about it, I think I should personally thank the Admiral." Yun Miao looked at Butler Wu somewhat embarrassedly, and after the other party stepped aside to make way, Yun Miao came to Feng Chengyuan with the porridge he had cooked himself. "Thank you for your help yesterday, Lord Admiral. I don't have anything to thank you for, so I made some porridge myself. I hope Lord Admiral doesn't mind." As soon as she put down the steaming porridge, she saw the cold nutritious meal on the side. The watery soup was not appetizing at all. "Admiral, how does the porridge I cooked taste?" Yun Miao was eagerly promoting her porridge, staring at Feng Chengyuan with burning eyes. If one had to describe the look in her eyes at that moment, it would be that they were radiating light. Feng Chengyuan paused, looked at Yun Miao, and asked in a deep voice, "Just say what you want to say." Yun Miao touched his nose, feeling embarrassed as if his thoughts were seen through. "Actually, there is something I would like to ask the Admiral for help with. Can the Admiral lend me some money first?" Hearing this, Feng Chengyuan raised his eyebrows and asked, "What are you borrowing money for?" Yun Miao did not hide anything and stated his purpose. "I tried to find a job outside before, but it seemed difficult, so I thought maybe I could try the live broadcast industry. I borrowed the money to buy a set of live broadcast equipment. Don't worry, I will make money and pay you back as soon as possible." This is actually just one of the reasons. Another reason is related to one's own mutation. Although I can transform my fishtail into legs at will, I am still unclear about the opportunity and conditions for the transformation. If I suddenly transform outside, the scene would be too unbearable to watch, wouldn't it? Until you figure out everything, the best way is to avoid contact with people as much as possible to reduce the risk of exposure. So, this is why Yun Miao chose to be a host at home. Feng Chengyuan looked at Yun Miao's expectant eyes and nodded expressionlessly. I'll ask Butler Wu to transfer some money to your account later. You don't have to pay it back. Yun Miao's eyes lit up. Is there such a good thing? Thank you, Admiral. Yun Miao left Feng Chengyuan's room happily. After returning to his own room, he couldn't wait to start selecting equipment for live streaming online. Ding dong. While she was choosing, Yun Miao heard a notification sound from her computer. She was startled and couldn't wait to open the message. It turned out to be a message about changes in the account balance. Yun Miao took a look at his account balance and was stunned. Tens, hundreds, thousands, tens, comma / opening parenthesis question mark closing parenthesis. Slash comma. So many zeros. General Feng is such a generous and kind person. Yun Miao was cheering in his heart and couldn't wait to place an order for the live broadcast equipment he had selected. After closing the purchase page, Yun Miao opened the largest live broadcast platform on the Star Network. The Moya Live Broadcast Platform is the live broadcast platform with the largest traffic in the Star Network. Its coverage has reached all major planets in the entire star field. The number of people registering every day has reached a terrifying number. If such traffic was not relying on the main brain calculation, it would have been stuck long ago. The live streaming platform has many categories, but the combat section has the largest traffic, while the other sections are evenly matched. Only the entertainment section seems to be lacking in traffic. Perhaps it is because the interstellar people are lacking in songs or movies and TV, which has led to the current situation. Yun Miao didn't think much about it. After opening the live broadcast platform and browsing it casually, he directly registered an account on the platform and then applied for a live broadcast room for himself. The process is not complicated. Once you submit your basic information, you will have to wait for a few minutes and your application for the live broadcast room will be approved. Yun Miao took his own situation into consideration. It was totally impossible for him to be a combat anchor. He could also pass on being an outdoor anchor. He could give life anchor a try, but he did not live alone. Feng Chengyuan also lived here. If he chose to be an anchor, he would inevitably walk around the room. If he accidentally captured Feng Chengyuan on camera, wouldn't it cause an uproar? As for other categories, Yun Miao felt that they were not suitable after screening, so he finally set his sights on the entertainment category. Although the traffic in this category is not very high, Yun Miao inexplicably feels that it is a perfect match for his current situation. Before making a decision, Yun Miao had already made a simple analysis of his current situation. I should have mutated into the legendary mermaid. If that's the case, I should have a natural advantage in terms of voice. Sure enough, after a simple attempt, Yun Miao discovered that although there was no change in his voice when he spoke, he had the unique ethereal voice of a mermaid when he sang. Even simple humming sounded like nature's music. In this case, being an entertainment anchor would be a piece of cake. Yun Miao thought happily and started to fill in the information of the live broadcast room. What name should I choose? After thinking about it, Yun Miao finally came up with an idea. It takes some time to fill in the information, and it also takes some time to submit it for review. The purchased live broadcast equipment has not arrived yet, so Yun Miao can use this free time to make plans for his own live broadcast. About an hour later, Yun Miao received the live broadcast equipment he ordered. It was a black round ball, the size of a palm. After it was turned on, it could fly directly in the air and record 360 degrees without blind spots. You could also choose a simple flat live broadcast within a fixed range. Everything outside the range would be blurred. This mode was rather rigid, but it was just right for Yun Miao. After all, she couldn't adapt to exposing her entire life to the public. In flat mode, it would be enough to stay in one position and just record herself. After studying the live broadcast ball according to the instructions and teaching videos, Yun Miao was able to get started easily. She fiddled with it like this, and before she knew it, it was getting dark. Yun Miao was shocked to realize the passage of time when he noticed the change in the light around him. Looking at the time, it was already 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Yun Miao thought for a moment, put down the live broadcast ball in his hand, then opened the door and went directly to the kitchen on the first floor. Feng Chengyuan seemed to be quite satisfied with the food he cooked before. This time he gave him so much money to buy live broadcast equipment, which could be said to be a great help to him. He had to express his gratitude in some way, so Yun Miao decided to cook another delicious meal for Feng Chengyuan. The door was closed for just a moment before it was opened again. Yun Miao walked in and picked up the live broadcast ball thrown on the bed. Since we're going to do a live broadcast sooner or later, why not try it now? Chapter 15 The First Live Broadcast. At exactly 6 o'clock in the evening, a small new live broadcast room of Moya Live quietly logged in. Although the entertainment area usually does not have as much traffic as other areas, there are still quite a few people who come here to hang out. Yu is one of them. She is a white-collar worker with a small fortune. She has no father, mother, husband or children. She has no ties and lives a very carefree life except when she is at work. Her biggest hobby is to find some nice songs, watch her favorite hosts, and then make some delicious food by herself, which makes her life more comfortable. The entertainment section is where she often stays, but compared to other sections where new people often move in, the speed at which new people move into the entertainment section can be described as snail's pace, so there are often only 2 or 3 newcomers in the newcomer area. Yu originally just casually clicked on the new area to look around, wanting to find a new anchor that caught his eye, but he didn't expect to see a live broadcast room named Zai Shui Yi Feng, where a person was busy in the kitchen. Clicking on it, Yu sent out a questioning comment. Did the little anchor enter the wrong place? Isn't this the life department? However, after the barrage was sent, there was no reply, because the host on the screen was busy and had no time to look at the live broadcast interface to reply to the message. Yu saw people coming into the live broadcast room one after another, and then leaving one after another. She originally wanted to leave, but when she saw the host put various vegetables and meats on the operating table, she immediately stopped the idea of leaving. What is the host going to do? Yu was wondering, and then he saw that the host seemed to be ready, and finally turned around to look at the live broadcast interface. Hello everyone, I'm the new anchor Yun Miao. Today is my first day of live streaming. I'm going to cook some dishes later. After hearing what the anchor said, Yu immediately became interested. He didn't care why a new anchor would broadcast cooking live in the entertainment area, and quickly sent a barrage of comments to show his support. Support the host. There are very few people willing to cook by themselves now. I look forward to the host's cooking skills. Closing square bracket. Yun Miao naturally also saw the comments on the live broadcast panel and couldn't help but smile and nodded. Well, let's wait and see. Yun Miao smiled, and the 2 remaining viewers in the live broadcast room couldn't sit still anymore. Wow, I just realized that this girl is so pretty, it would be a pity not to go to the beauty section. Closing square bracket. Question mark. What does it matter? It's the same here. Yun Miao stared at the comments for a moment, then said a little embarrassedly, "Thank you for your compliments, I feel pretty good here." After saying that, Yun Miao turned around and started to prepare cooking. The dishes she was going to prepare were the very common sweet and sour pork, kung pao chicken and steamed sea bass. The kitchen is very spacious. In order not to waste time, Yun Miao directly called the housekeeping robot to help him. Soon a fish was processed and placed on the chopping board. Seeing this, Yun Miao hurried forward and stuffed ginger slices and scallion segments into the fish's belly, and then marinated the fish with salt, cooking wine and lemon juice. Next, you need to thicken the sauce with black bean sauce and oyster sauce, then pour it over the fish and steam it. After putting the fish in the steamer and starting to heat it up, I turned back to prepare other dishes. Her movements were smooth and fluid, and you could tell at a glance that she wasn't just pretending. The friends in the live broadcast room were immediately stunned by her actions. I don't quite understand it, but it seems pretty amazing. Closing square bracket. Wow, I just saw some very expensive ingredients sold in the mall. The host really spent a lot of money on them. Host, can you really cook? Wouldn't it be that the food you cook is just a picture and tastes inedible? Closing square bracket. Don't talk nonsense. Just look at the host's attitude and you know it will work. But if the host can open holographic sharing, I will be more convinced that the host can cook. Closing square bracket. Question mark, comma, question mark. Yun Miao took some time out from his busy schedule to look back at the live broadcast panel, and saw that the live broadcast room, which originally had only 2 or 3 kittens, now had more than 10, and even the barrage of comments had increased a lot. She took a quick look at the barrage and happened to see the one asking to enable holographic sharing. Then she remembered that there was indeed an introduction in the manual of the live broadcast ball that holographic sharing permissions could be enabled during the live broadcast, which means that all the senses of the host during recording could be uploaded. When the people in the live broadcast room turned on the holographic experience, they could also feel a series of senses felt by the host, including smell and taste. Yun Miao thought about it and felt that this was a good idea, so he found the holographic sharing permission according to the instructions in his memory, and then directly chose to turn it on. The next second, all the people in the Zai Shui Yi Fang live broadcast room received the prompt at the same time. Did the anchor really enable holographic sharing? You are very brave. Closing square bracket. Question mark. But I like it very much. I can't wait to try the host's cooking skills. Closing square bracket. Question mark, comma, question mark. Question mark. Little Squid gave the anchor a star. Question mark, comma, question mark. Yun Miao happened to see the reward information in the live broadcast room and was stunned for a moment. She never thought that someone would reward her so soon. Although 1 starlight is only equivalent to 1 star coin, it is a good start for her. Thank you for the starlight reward, Little Squid. You are the first person to give me a gift. Why don't I sing a song for you? Yun Miao was cooking while chatting with the people in the live broadcast room. When he thought of his plan, he spoke it out directly. The live broadcast room in the entertainment area is not like the live broadcast rooms in other areas, which have large traffic and heavy hostility. Most of the people here are the kind of people who like to enjoy life, so they speak more kindly. When they heard Yun Miao say that he wanted to sing, they were naturally very happy. Question mark. Expect. The host is so cute, and her singing must be good too. I am looking forward to it. Closing square bracket. This is more like our entertainment district. Closing square bracket. Yun Miao found it funny but didn't say anything else. After thinking about the song he wanted to sing in his mind, he started to speak. A man later passed through Jiangnan, and the mist and rain locked melancholy. I heard the black sails gently swaying, but I didn't know what to think. The sound of flutes and drums on the painted boats is so heartbreaking. Note 1. As soon as Yun Miao opened his mouth, he sang softly as if whispering in someone's ear, causing the listeners to tremble slightly and their eyes to suddenly light up. It sounds good. This is a style that is completely different from today's popular songs. It is a style that I have never heard of before and it sounds soft. The host's voice is also very special, crisp and lingering, with a hint of the reality. The voice coming out of his mouth seems to be rippling from the horizon, with an elusive and ethereal feeling. Especially those who have turned on holographic sharing at this moment, were immersed in the singing at the first moment. A firework in the world, you once bloomed. Carve a few people in my heart, and live a lonely life from now on. When Yun Miao sang the high notes, her originally ethereal voice suddenly became penetrating, and the feeling that seemed to strike directly into the soul made people feel their scalp tingling. Yun Miao only sang a short paragraph and stopped singing. She focused on cooking and didn't bother to look at the reaction in the live broadcast room. Therefore, she didn't see that after she finished singing, there was a brief blank in the barrage of comments in the live broadcast room, and then the barrage of comments quickly popped up like a blowout. Note 1. The song is Human Fireworks. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 16. Come on, I'm optimistic about you. Oh my god, how can there be such a beautiful voice and such a beautiful song? Closing square bracket. The host sings so beautifully, I love it. Closing square bracket. What song is this? I just searched on Starnet, but couldn't find this song. Could it be that the host wrote it himself? Closing square bracket. I thought before that it was a pity that the anchor didn't go to the appearance area, but now I know that I was short-sighted. Question mark, comma, question mark. All the comments were praising Yun Miao in shock, but when Yun Miao was halfway through cooking, the comments suddenly changed direction. Huh, it smells good. Closing square bracket. The dish was actually cooked. And the fragrance is something I have never smelled before. Closing square bracket. I can't wait to taste it. Host, please try it. Many people who clicked in were first attracted by Yun Miao's singing and clicked to follow her. But before they could recover from the singing, the smell of the food aroused their appetite. The feeling of wanting to eat but not being able to do so was simply sour and refreshing. The number of people in the live broadcast room is constantly increasing. In a short period of time, it has increased from double digits to 5 digits, and is still increasing. However, as the number of viewers has increased, the barrage of comments is naturally not as harmonious as before. Cooking live in the entertainment zone. The host is really clever. How much technology and hard work went into making this dish so delicious? Closing square bracket. Question mark. Anchor. After Yun Miao had plated the dishes, she had time to pay attention to the dynamics of the live broadcast room. She took a quick look at the content of the barrage and did not pay attention to the bad comments. Instead, she simply responded to the good comments. The song I sang before was called Human Fireworks. Unfortunately, I don't have any accompaniment right now, and I don't know if you guys will like my a cappella version. Yun Miao looked at the screen somewhat embarrassedly. The next second, the word, like, appeared unanimously on the live broadcast panel, which made Yun Miao smile knowingly. Thank you for your likes. I will bring you more good songs in the future. There was another round of cheers in the live broadcast room. Among the rapidly scrolling comments, Yun Miao saw those comments asking him to try the dishes from the information extraction column. Yun Miao naturally did not refuse. It happened that several dishes were ready, so Yun Miao picked up a piece of kung pao chicken and put it in his mouth. The spicy taste spread in his mouth immediately. Yun Miao tried several other dishes and they were all delicious. For a moment, Yun Miao himself was a little surprised. He didn't expect that his cooking skills had improved a lot. But the most surprised were the netizens in the live broadcast room. Those viewers who turned on holographic sharing felt the same thing as Yun Miao and were immediately stunned. Question mark. Oh my god, this taste is incomparably delicious. It's over, it's over. I can't eat any other food from now on. The host is responsible. Closing square bracket. Anchor, why don't you consider going to the living area? What's the point of staying in the entertainment area? It limits your talent. Closing square bracket. What are you talking about above? Didn't you hear the host singing before? Cooking is what delayed the host. In a blink of an eye, there was a quarrel in the live broadcast room about which area Yun Miao should broadcast live in. Yun Miao was at a loss whether to laugh or cry, and hurried to comfort the audience on both sides. I think it's fine for me to be in the entertainment area, and it won't interfere with my other activities, right? Cooking is just her hobby. If she treats it as a job, her enthusiasm will be worn away in a few days. It's better for her to just sing, at least she can stay happy. Although many viewers were disappointed, they also expressed their understanding and did not continue the argument. Yun Miao took a look at the number of viewers in the live broadcast room and found that it had exceeded 6 digits. However, she was only briefly surprised and soon calmed down. If this amount of traffic had happened in his previous life, he would have been a big anchor. But now, he is just a newcomer and an unknown person. Looking at the time, it was time to eat, so Yun Miao smiled at the live broadcast ball and said, "Today's live broadcast ends here. See you next time. After saying this, Yun Miao ended the live broadcast without caring how many people in the room tried to stop him. After putting the food on the table, Yun Miao was about to go upstairs to call Feng Chengyuan to eat, but when he turned around, he saw Feng Chengyuan and butler Wu appeared at the door of the restaurant. I saw Miss Yun busy in the kitchen before. I guess she was cooking. Do you mind if we eat together? Butler Wu asked with a smile. Yun Miao naturally had no objections and nodded quickly. Of course, I did this to thank the admiral for his help. I have already purchased the live broadcast equipment I wanted and have used it. It is very useful. Feng Chengyuan sat in the main seat and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows slightly when he heard Yun Miao's words. Already started live streaming. I don't know what kind of live broadcast it is. Feng Chengyuan thought about it casually and didn't take it to heart, but butler Wu was very interested in it. Ms. Yun, have you started live streaming? I don't know what the live streaming room is called, would you mind telling me? Butler Wu looked at Yun Miao with a smile. His eyes were so sincere that Yun Miao felt embarrassed to refuse. Well, okay, I'll tell you. Yun Miao was actually embarrassed to let people she knew into her live broadcast room. For her, as it was her first time doing live broadcast, it always felt a bit awkward. However, since butler Wu had already asked in person, Yun Miao could only tell him the name of the live broadcast room. She glanced at Feng Chengyuan secretly and saw that he just lowered his eyes and ate slowly, as if he was not interested in what she had just said. Yun Miao then secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He is so aloof, he shouldn't be interested in these things, right? The three of them had a meal together. The new dishes made by Yun Miao once again captured the heart of butler Wu, and even the expression on Feng Chengyuan's face softened a lot. The food is good. Feng Chengyuan rarely spoke and expressed his affirmation to Yun Miao, which made Yun Miao stunned for a moment. After a moment, he reacted and showed a bright smile. If you like it, General, I will cook it for you often in the future. Just consider it as a way of repaying him for his help over and over again. Feng Chengyuan looked at Yun Miao with interest, then retracted his gaze and controlled the wheelchair to leave the restaurant. However, when he turned and left, he still left a few words. Not often, just occasionally. Looking at Feng Chengyuan's leaving back, Yun Miao suddenly felt that the other party was not as difficult to get along with as he looked. At least he had never deliberately made things difficult for her. As Yun Miao thought about this, the smile in his eyes became even more intense, but when he turned around, he was met with the half-smile on the face of butler Wu, and he felt a little confused for a moment. What happened? Yun Miao asked doubtfully. Butler Wu shook his head, and then said meaningfully, it seems that the admiral has a good impression of you. Come on, I am optimistic about you. After saying that, he left without waiting for Yun Miao's response, leaving Yun Miao alone and confused. What the hell is this? Chapter 17 Memory Inheritance. After dinner, Yun Miao went back to her room to rest. She had no idea that her live broadcast had been spread on Starnet. Shocked. There is actually someone who sings so well. I met a host with a beautiful and sweet voice, and the key is that her cooking is also delicious. What should I do? I'm in love. A new song I haven't heard of. Is the entertainment area going to rise? On the Moya forum, someone posted a clip of Yun Miao's live broadcast, especially the part where Yun Miao was singing, which immediately attracted a lot of attention on the forum. The entertainment industry is in decline today, largely due to the overall environment. After all, it has only been a few hundred years since the last interstellar war. In addition, there are the Zerg outside the interstellar space, which makes people feel nervous. Naturally, everyone's energy is more focused on improving their own abilities, so there is not much time to entertain themselves. Another part is that there are not many amazing works in the entertainment industry today. After watching and hearing too much, people feel that it is boring. It would be better to go to the battlefield and fight a few times, which would be more exciting. Therefore, the entertainment area will become increasingly quiet. However, now a song with a style that had never been heard before and lyrics that sounded very poetic suddenly ignited the spark in many people's hearts. Some people feel as if they have seen the light at the end of the tunnel, while others remain on the sidelines, preparing to wait and see before drawing any conclusions. In short, Yun Miao's live broadcast room became a little popular. If the live broadcast was not started at this time, I am afraid that the traffic of the live broadcast room would more than double. After Yun Miao went off the air, she no longer paid attention to what was happening on the live streaming platform, so no one knew about these things about her. After she looked through the various functions of the live broadcast equipment again, she went to the bathroom and filled a bathtub with water. After a whole day, Yun Miao felt that her legs were very dehydrated. She wondered if it was because her legs had turned into fish tails before, so she was affected. Now that he had some free time, Yun Miao decided to take a good bath. In the bathroom, the round bathtub, which was large enough for 2 or 3 people to lie down, was already filled with water. Yun Miao looked at the full pool of clear water and suddenly felt an urge to try it out. She couldn't wait to take off her clothes and stepped into the bath naked. As the warm water flowed over his body, Yun Miao suddenly felt relaxed all over. A warm current rushed to his legs. Yun Miao looked down and saw his legs slowly turning into a fishtail. In addition, a green fan-shaped mark appeared between her eyebrows, like a small scale, but Yun Miao did not look in the mirror, so she naturally did not know it. Yun Miao sat on the edge of the bathtub, looking at her fishtail in wonder and amazement. Because she was too shocked and afraid that people would discover her mutation, she didn't have time to check her fishtail before her legs reappeared. Now that she had time, she naturally wanted to observe it carefully. So beautiful. Yun Miao looked at his silver blue fishtail and couldn't help but sigh. It's not her fault that she is so narcissistic, but she has truly never seen such a beautiful fishtail. The silver blue scales emit a sparkling luster under the light, and the fan-like tail fin with a gradient skirt ripples in the water, instantly creating a very beautiful and dreamy feeling. In addition, Yun Miao found that her skin had become whiter and smoother, and it felt so delicate that she couldn't let it go even when she touched it. Yun Miao didn't know if it was because she had awakened her mermaid blood, but she felt extremely comfortable in the water, as if all the pores in her body were opened up. The feeling was so comfortable that Yun Miao didn't want to get out of the water. Thinking it was nothing to worry about, Yun Miao just soaked in the water. Perhaps because the feeling of soaking in the water was too comfortable, Yun Miao fell asleep without noticing. When she woke up the next morning, she was almost frightened by where she found herself. I actually lay under the water like this for the whole night. Yun Miao quickly emerged from the water, trying to recall how he fell asleep last night, but he had no recollection of it. She only remembered that she fell asleep and had a dream. In the dream, she was in a blue place. There was a very beautiful person who made her feel very warm by her side. He taught her many things, all about the mermaid tribe, which benefited her a lot. Thinking back now, Yun Miao felt that the knowledge was extremely clear, but when he thought about that person's face, he couldn't remember what the other person looked like. Is this the heritage of the race? Yun Miao muttered to himself, stood up and sat on the edge of the bathtub, looking at the beautiful silver blue fishtail. With a thought, the fishtail immediately changed into the shape of a pair of legs. Compared with his previous surprise, Yun Miao, who has inherited some of the mermaid's memories, has now been able to remain calm. I wonder how she has merman blood. Yun Miao sorted out all his memories, but was unable to dig out anything useful from his original body's memories. He could only suppress this doubt for the time being. She stood up, put on her bathrobe and walked out of the bathroom. Just as she came out of the cloakroom after changing her clothes, she received a communication request from the computer on the table. Yun Miao was stunned for a moment, wondering who would call him at this time, so he went forward to take a look, but unexpectedly found that the call was from the Yun family. To answer or not to answer? This is a problem. Yun Miao secretly doesn't want to have any relationship with the Yun family anymore, but the fact is that she is still Yun Songcheng's daughter, and this cannot be changed. Yun Miao was conflicted and hesitant. Perhaps because the call had not been connected for a long time, she hung up first. Yun Miao waited for a while, but the other party did not call again, so she secretly breathed a sigh of relief. I guess it's not something important that they're looking for me, otherwise they wouldn't give up so easily. If that's the case, there's no need to take it to heart. Yun Miao was thinking this in his heart, but he didn't know that the Yun family was angry at the moment because the communication could not be connected. You've really grown cocky. You actually dared not to answer my calls. Yun Songcheng was so angry that he slammed the table. Yu Qingru quickly stepped forward to comfort him. Songcheng, don't be angry first. Although Howard's matter is urgent, you have to think about your own health. Yun Hao on the side also nodded and agreed. Dad, I am still very confident in this mecha competition, but if Master Lang can debug it, I think my mecha operation will definitely be smoother, and I will have no problem competing for the first place. But if Yun Miao is unwilling to help, then forget it. After all, she just got married to General Feng not long ago. You are her brother. If she doesn't help you, who else can she help? You are rebelling against her. Yun Songcheng thought of his son's mecha competition and immediately decided, keep sending her messages and tell her to come back as soon as possible. But just as he finished speaking, he remembered the unpleasantness that had occurred when Yun Miao came back. He hesitated for a moment and said, Qingru, why don't you take Howard to the general's mansion in person tomorrow? Yu Qingru thought that everything was for her son, so she agreed. Chapter 18 The Yun family is here. After changing his clothes, Yun Miao prepared to go downstairs to make himself breakfast. As soon as he walked downstairs, he saw Feng Chengyuan and Butler Wu already dressed and ready to go out. Are you going out? Yun Miao asked doubtfully. Feng Chengyuan didn't say anything. Butler Wu nodded and replied, there are some things that need to be taken care of. Your breakfast is ready and on the dining table. You can go over and take a look. Oh, thank you. Yun Miao glanced at Feng Chengyuan, who had an indifferent expression, responded casually, and watched the two of them leave the villa, get in the car and fly away quickly. She came to the restaurant and saw breakfast on the table. It was a bowl of green rice porridge, a palm-sized fried egg of some unknown kind, a few pieces of bread and a glass of milk. It was quite rich, but she couldn't seem to eat so much by herself. Yun Miao had a simple breakfast and was just about to call the housekeeping robot to clean up when he heard a pleasant ringtone coming from the living room outside. Yun Miao was stunned for a moment before realizing that this was the reminder sound of a guest's arrival. But who is the guest? Yun Miao opened the light screen at the door in confusion, and saw a flying car hovering at the door of the general's mansion, requesting to enter. Yun Miao took one look at the flying car and immediately recognized that it came from the Yun family, because it was this silver-gray hovercraft that was used to pick her up from the slums. Is this someone from the Yun family? Yun Miao hesitated for a moment, but finally chose to agree. Then the no-fly order over the villa was lifted and the hovercraft was allowed to enter. She did not go to greet them. After all, to her, the people from the Yun family were uninvited guests. After a while, the doorbell rang at the door. The robot went forward to open the door, and a man and a woman walked in from outside. The people who came were Yu Qingru and her son Yun Hao. Yun Miao was browsing on her laptop in the living room. The laptop that Butler Wu had replaced for her was extremely fast, and it felt many times faster than her previous one. But if you think about it carefully, you will understand. After all, the previous optical computer was discarded by Yun Bei, otherwise it would not have ended up in her hands. Hearing someone coming in, Yun Miao looked up and saw that it was Yu Qingru and Yun Hao. He then stood up and greeted them politely but distantly. Yu Qingru was very dissatisfied with Yun Miao's attitude, but thinking that they came here to ask Yun Miao for help, she didn't say much. The two sat down and Yun Miao asked the first question. You came to see me. What happened? Yun Hao nodded and looked at Yun Miao with a gentle smile, as if he cared about her very much. We came to see how you've been doing lately. The last time you came home, I didn't have the chance to talk to you. This time, I took advantage of the holiday to come and see you. Yun Miao didn't care and nodded calmly. Thank you, I'm fine. As the saying goes, don't hit a smiling person. Yun Hao's attitude was pretty good, so Yun Miao naturally had no need to make the atmosphere awkward. Yu Qingru didn't say anything, just looked at Yun Miao with a loving look. If you didn't know her expression, you would think she was really good to Yun Miao. Yu Qingru spoke only after Yun Hao and Yun Miao said a few words. Yun Miao, are you alone at home? Where is General Feng? As she spoke, Yu Qingru glanced around to make sure that Yun Miao was the only one in the huge house, and not even a servant could be seen. Seeing this, she couldn't help but feel a little contempt. Such a grand general's mansion doesn't even have a servant. It would be a joke if anyone knew about it. He turned to look at Yun Miao and couldn't help but complain in his heart. It seems that he still doesn't take Yun Miao seriously, otherwise why would he be so neglectful to her? Yun Miao didn't know what Yu Qingru was thinking, so when she asked, he answered casually, the general is out. If you have something to do, you're not here at the right time. When Yu Qingru heard this, her mind changed and her smile became even more affectionate. She sat closer to Yun Miao, trying to show some friendliness. However, Yun Miao didn't buy it at all and moved to the side, distancing herself from Yu Qingru again. Yu Qingru, the gentle mask I had worn on my face for so many years almost broke. Yu Qingru narrowed her eyes and returned to her usual composure. Actually, we did come here to discuss something with General Feng, but since he's not here, we can talk to you. Yun Miao looked over in confusion, but didn't respond. Yu Qingru didn't care and said to herself, do you know about the mecha competition jointly held by various colleges? You also know that your brother is studying in the combat department of the Capital Military Academy and will participate in the competition when the time comes. When saying this, Yu Qingru's tone was somewhat proud. After all, his son's excellence is obvious to all, and he is also a top student in the combat department of the Capital Military Academy. Many people envy him. As long as we can win the mecha competition this time, we can show our faces in front of the people in the Interstellar. Wouldn't it be easier to join the 7th Legion in the future? Yun Miao looked at the smug look on Yu Qingru's face, his heart remaining calm, he even felt like laughing. So what? Yu Qingru was somewhat dissatisfied with Yun Miao's lack of tact, but she still spoke patiently. I heard that there is a mecha master named Lang Yundi in the 7th Legion. Please tell General Feng for us and ask him to ask Master Lang to help Howard modify the mecha. Miao Miao, this matter is very important to me. For the sake of our family, you must help me. Yun Hao couldn't wait for his mother's slow explanation, so he looked at Yun Miao earnestly. Yun Miao curled his lips imperceptibly when he heard this. Family. Now we are a family. If I really considered myself a family, I wouldn't be standing in the general's mansion now. I've made note of this. You guys go back first. I'll pass on the message to the admiral when he comes back. Yun Miao didn't want to stay with them any longer, so he stood up and pretended to see them off. Yu Qingru said angrily, Yun Miao, we didn't ask you to convey it, but to find a way to get General Feng to agree. Yun Miao glanced at Yu Qingru and gave her a look that said, you think too highly of me, for her to savor carefully. Then he stopped talking nonsense with them and spoke directly. I'm a little tired, so I won't send you out. After saying this, Yun Miao turned around and went upstairs without caring about Yu Qingru and Yun Hao's expressions. No matter how the two called out to him, he never even looked back. The two wanted to chase after him, but were blocked by the robot. Guest, please stop. The housekeeping robot stopped the two of them. The two of them didn't know that when Yun Miao was going upstairs, he had already given orders to the housekeeping robot through the optical brain, asking the robot to stop them. Seeing the robot blocking the way, Yu Qingru suddenly felt very angry. She wanted to bypass the robot and force her way in, but was stopped by a warning. You are trespassing into private property without permission. I have called the federal police and the call is being connected. Yu Qingru and Yun Hao were both stunned for a moment, then cursed inwardly, and did not dare to stay, and quickly slipped away. Chapter 19. The word is inevitable. It was only after leaving the admiral's mansion and getting on the hovercraft that Yu Qingru vented her dissatisfaction. How dare she do this to us? She didn't even think about who brought her back from the slums in the first place. If it weren't for us, she would still be living in poverty. How dare she be so rude to us? Did she really think that she could become a phoenix by climbing up the tree and marrying Feng Chengyuan? Yun Hao was also a little unhappy, but at the moment he was only thinking about his mecha, so he didn't care much. As long as she is willing to help me, Mom, let's not worry about it. Although Yu Qingru was still a little angry, since Yun Hao said so, she could only let it go. After Yun Miao returned upstairs, he sat directly on the sofa in the lounge area, curled up on the sofa and turned on his computer. She remembered seeing something about a mecha competition when she was on Star Network before, but she thought it had nothing to do with her at the time, so she didn't pay much attention to it. Now that he heard that Yun Hao was also going to participate, Yun Miao thought about finding out more about it first. As soon as she searched on StarNet, a flood of information came to her. After Yun Miao quickly flipped through it, he suddenly remembered that he seemed to have seen reports about the mecha competition before. It was the rumor online that Feng Chengyuan would serve as a judge for the mecha competition. Why did I forget this? Yun Miao murmured to himself and continued reading. After she understood the nature of the mecha competition, she realized why Yu Qingru and Yun Hao suddenly came to find her. The mecha competition is held every year. It is a competition jointly organized by various colleges in the Northern Territory. The winner can be said to have directly caught the eyes of the leaders of various legions. If you are lucky, you can be directly recommended to the legion of your choice and have a bright future. Mecha competitions are held every year, and countless students have achieved success thanks to the competitions. It is no wonder that mecha competitions are so popular. No wonder Yun Hao is so anxious. It seems he is determined to win the championship. Yun Miao sneered and turned off the computer. She didn't think of hiding the matter because she felt that even if she told Feng Chengyuan about the Yun family's request, Feng Chengyuan would probably not agree. This was her instinctive intuition. I just don't know when Feng Chengyuan will come back. At this moment, in the best hospital in the capital Star, Feng Chengyuan had just come down from the examination instrument. He was only wearing a pair of black shorts. Even though he was sitting in a wheelchair, one could tell that he had a good figure comparable to that of a supermodel, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. His upper body muscles were tight, and he was obviously a person who exercised regularly. Even though his legs had been unable to walk for a long time, the muscles were still full and well proportioned, without any signs of atrophy. It was obvious that he had been doing rehabilitation well. Butler Wu had just answered a call outside and walked in. When he saw Feng Chengyuan coming down, he immediately went forward with clothes to help him put them on, then turned around and asked the doctor about the details. The admiral is in good condition. His spirituality has not deteriorated further, but he still needs to be more alert. It is best not to continue to use his spiritual power, otherwise it may cause another spiritual riot. The doctor answered the test results seriously, and Feng Chengyuan couldn't help but frown as he listened. He remembered very clearly that just before, he had used his mental power and induced the precursor of a mental riot. This was also the reason why he came to the hospital for a checkup. However, the results did not find any abnormalities. This made Feng Chengyuan once again think of the mysterious power that soothed his mental power before. Could it be because of that power? Feng Chengyuan seemed to have the answer in his heart. After politely thanking the doctor, he maneuvered his wheelchair out. Butler Wu followed him silently, and only asked after he got on the hovercraft, "Admiral, we have investigated the matter you ordered before, and we did not find any abnormalities. The energy fluctuation you mentioned has never appeared again." Feng Chengyuan nodded and fell into deep thought. Butler Wu hesitated for a moment, then spoke again. "The old house just called and said that the old master has been feeling unwell in recent days. I hope you can go back and see him." Feng Chengyuan raised his eyes. His expression was calm. Only if you looked closely could you see a hint of unhappiness in those calm eyes. "Want to go back and take a look? Go back and see what they want to do. If there's nothing else, tell them I'm busy." "It is good." The hovercraft took off. Feng Chengyuan looked at the scenery outside the window, and fell into memories. Ever since the galaxy overthrew the imperial rule and established the Interstellar Alliance, the former aristocratic families have gradually declined, and the Feng family is one of them. Everyone knows that if nothing is done, the entire Feng family will one day perish in the tide of the times, so the Feng family set their sights on political and military power. However, there were very few people capable of carrying the Feng family forward, until Feng Chengyuan's father, Feng Ming, appeared. Feng Ming is a genius. At a young age, he established the 7th Federation Legion with his own abilities and became the youngest marshal in the entire Interstellar Alliance. He is a legend, but such a legend disappeared in a battle against star beasts 10 years ago. The Feng family lost Feng Ming, the pillar of the family, and was suddenly surrounded by wolves. The huge 7th Legion was a piece of fat meat in everyone's eyes. Fortunately, Feng Chengyuan, who was still in the military academy at the time, stood up. With his SS-level mental power and the same iron-blooded strategy as Feng Ming, he stabilized the morale of the army and made those who coveted the 7th Legion give up their inappropriate thoughts. In the 10 years since then, Feng Chengyuan has experienced countless battles and repelled countless star beasts. Only then did he firmly secure his position as the general of the 7th Legion. Over the years, he has never given up looking for his father, and he has encountered too many obstacles for this. When he discovered that the forces that blocked him almost all came from within the Feng family, he could no longer forgive those so-called family members. Especially when he was seriously injured by a star beast in a battle and his mental power began to show signs of rioting for the first time, he discovered that the way the people of the Feng family looked at him had changed. It was a calculating look that made him shudder. At that moment, he seemed to understand why no one in the Feng family cared about his father's disappearance and even tried to stop him from finding his father. In the end, it's just a matter of greed. Whether it was his father or his own abilities, they had put too much pressure on the other members of the Feng family. Unfortunately, neither he nor his son were people who could be manipulated. So the Feng family could only watch as they had great power but were unable to get involved. That must have been an unpleasant feeling, right? Admiral, we are here. Feng Chengyuan, who was dozing with his eyes closed, heard the call in his ear and his thoughts were pulled away from his memories. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the hovercraft was already parked in the garage of the Admiral's mansion. The two got out of the car, and Feng Chengyuan looked up and saw a figure not far away. He couldn't help but wonder, what is she doing there? Chapter 20 to be seen. Yun Miao had nothing to do, so she wanted to find something to do, so she thought of the small flower bed in the front yard, which was just right for her to pass the time. In her previous life, she planted a lot of green plants on her balcony, whether flowers or vegetables, she tried everything she could grow. At the beginning, Yun Miao just wanted to cultivate her mood and allow herself to completely relax. Then a friend recommended her to grow flowers and plants. So she went to the flower market, bought a full set of tools and took her home, starting her career of growing flowers and plants. I heard that some people will die no matter what green plants they raise. Yun Miao suddenly remembered this sentence after he killed 2 pots of cactus in 1 month. However, this did not discourage Yun Miao, but instead aroused her fighting spirit. She read various books on growing flowers and vegetables, and after half a year of unyielding struggle and harvesting a dozen empty pots, she finally succeeded in breaking the curse and growing the first potted plant in her life, the Euphorbia tricolor. From then on, whether Yun Miao planted them herself or bought them and took care of them herself, the green plants all survived, so her balcony was soon occupied by green plants. Looking at the green scene, Yun Miao was moved to tears. I am so inspired. Now seeing the small flower garden, Yun Miao suddenly became restless. The flower bed was not empty, there were some green plants planted in it, but they always looked a little wilted, and the leaves had turned yellow. Yun Miao couldn't recognize the species of those green plants and thought they must be unique to this world. As he was squatting in front of the flower bed, browsing his light computer and searching for information about these green plants, he heard Feng Chengyuan's voice behind him. What are you doing? Yun Miao was startled and quickly stood up to look back, but he accidentally tripped and lost his balance and fell sideways. What? Yun Miao exclaimed, not daring to imagine how miserable he would be when he fell to the ground. However, the next second she felt someone grab her wrist, and then a force changed the direction of her fall. Yun Miao watched herself pounce towards Feng Chengyuan, but she had no time to change her falling trajectory. She was so scared that she closed her eyes instinctively. However, the next second, just when Yun Miao thought she was about to throw herself into Feng Chengyuan's arms, a pair of strong hands directly supported her shoulders, stopping her from falling. Yun Miao felt his own situation and opened his eyes with lingering fear. Just then he bumped into that pair of dark and deep eyes. The deep black color was like a whirlpool, and Yun Miao couldn't take his eyes away after just one glance. Feng Chengyuan was also looking at Yun Miao. When their eyes met, he was stunned for a moment, but then he immediately regained his composure. "You still can't get up." A cold but slightly majestic voice came into Yun Miao's ears, bringing him back to his senses. When she realized her current posture, she was almost leaning into Feng Chengyuan's arms. She suddenly felt a heat rising on her face. She quickly held onto the armrest of the wheelchair to help herself stand steady. I'm sorry, I didn't notice just now." Yun Miao was so embarrassed at this moment that she wished she could find a hole to crawl into. She didn't even dare to look at Feng Chengyuan. Feng Chengyuan looked calm, as if he didn't care at all about the accident that had just happened. "What were you doing just now?" he asks. Yun Miao tried to calm down, and after feeling the heat on his face quickly dissipating, he answered, "I noticed that the flowers in the flower bed were not growing well, so I wanted to see if there was any way to remedy the situation." Feng Chengyuan took a look at the half-dead seedlings in the flower bed and suddenly felt that they looked familiar. This was planted by young Master Zhang Zhou. He said he found it from a remote planet. I don't know what kind of flower or plant it is, but he planted it because it looked nice. Butler Wu thought that when Zhang Zhou brought the seedlings, his admiral was still in a coma, and he didn't pay attention to these things after waking up, so it was normal that he didn't know. When Feng Chengyuan heard that it was Zhang Zhou who did it, he couldn't help feeling speechless. When that guy was serious, he could give people a feeling that they could trust him unconditionally, but when he got upset, he was really unreliable. Zhang Zhou. Yun Miao was a little confused about who the person Butler Wu was talking about, and Butler Wu immediately explained to her. Yun Miao then realized that he was the doctor who treated her when she had an accident before. "Then, can I still move these flowers and plants?" Yun Miao asked tentatively. If it didn't work, she would just give up. Feng Chengyuan glanced at her and said calmly, "Do whatever you want, it's just some flowers and plants." Yun Miao smiled happily and said immediately, "Thank you." Feng Chengyuan did not comment and left in his wheelchair. Butler Wu glanced at Feng Chengyuan's back as he left, hesitated for a moment, stepped forward and bowed slightly to Yun Miao, and said, "Miss Yun, I have something to do and need to be away for a while. Please help take care of the admiral during this time." Yun Miao was a little surprised, but he quickly responded, "Butler Wu, you don't have to be so polite. Don't worry, I will take good care of the admiral." Although he didn't know why Butler Wu had to leave, he didn't ask much. Since it was just taking care of Feng Chengyuan, it was not a difficult task for Yun Miao. After receiving Yun Miao's affirmative answer, Butler Wu smiled and thanked him again. Yun Miao waited until Butler Wu left before turning his attention back to the flower garden. Now that he had Feng Chengyuan's consent, Yun Miao had no hesitation in taking action. Butler Wu returned to the house and did not see Feng Chengyuan on the second floor, so he knew that he must have gone to the third floor. So after going upstairs, he saw him in the sunny study on the third floor, looking at the busy figures downstairs through the glass window. "Admiral, I have already told Miss Yun that she will take care of you while I am away." Butler Wu originally wanted to say that he hoped the admiral would not always look so cold towards girls, but when the words came to his lips, he swallowed them after seeing where Feng Chengyuan was looking. "From the looks of it, you should be more interested, right? Which is a good thing." Butler Wu felt that although the marriage between the two began with the calculations of all parties, after this period of contact, he found that Yun Miao was a good girl, kind and warm. If she was with his own admiral, it would not be a bad thing. "Miss Yun is a good person. What do you think, Admiral?" Butler Wu asked tentatively. Feng Chengyuan did not retract his gaze, but when he looked at the figure downstairs, there was a hint of deep thought in his eyes. "It remains to be seen." After a long silence, Feng Chengyuan finally spoke. Butler Wu had already tidied up the study and was about to leave when he heard Feng Chengyuan's answer. He couldn't help feeling helpless, but after hearing his answer, he chuckled softly. It seems that the admiral has a good impression of Miss Yun. At least he did not directly deny her question. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories. And never miss out on a great listen.